with the debut of NXT on the CW network, we got new championships. Now, brother Hugh,
Yes, sir.
does this set the stage for future champions?
I don't know. That's a question we're gonna have to figure out.
What does this mean for the brand's evolution? Hmm. And what's the difference between those belts and the 2.0 Color Splash version? Well, guess what? It's time for some insight and some in-depth conversation. The only way the championship culture guys can do. So let's get to it. Welcome to season 3 of Championship Culture. I'm Brandon the Guy. He is H to the A to the S to the T to the H to the E to the 3RD. Has the third.
You're making it too hard, bro. It's HASTHE to 3RD, man.
I gotta spell each one out so they know it's H to the A to the S to the T to the H to the E to the 3 to the RD has the third. And before we go any further, there's a certain person when it comes to talking about belts, talking about the debut of belts, talking about the evolution of a belt, because NXT is definitely changing the game, right? NXT is definitely telling us that they are here for a reason, right?
Yes,
Whether you say they are the third brand or they just an extension of WWE, either way, they are changing the game. And they changed the game with a big way when they debuted on NXT. And just to make sure that we covered this topic in true championship culture form, right?
Mm-hmm.
We reached out to somebody who, and you know what? I'm gonna play something. Hopefully, we don't get stricken down. I'm gonna play a little bit of this for you because I believe that this will say a lot about the person because unlike this theme, he still has his aura. He still has his luster. He still is somebody that we want to talk about. He is not only wrong version. He's not only oh buddy, I don't know if you can hear it, but that coin drops means something special, right? AEW may have lost the luster, but the legend is still there. But unlike in the wrestling realm, he's still here. The realness, Dwanye Allen, the 6'12" owner of TRDA Brands, one of the creators of Wrestling Realm. Bring him on because I'm gonna hurry up and cut this off before we get taken down. That's what I was hoping for. Let him have his moment. He's just soaking it all in. I really wanted him to hear the coin drop.
Right.
Brother Realness, welcome.
You're muted.
He's muted. We're gonna get him unmuted. There we go. Brother Realness.
I was too busy posing. I was waiting for it. I was like, can anybody hear me? I was like, can you guys see the money fall in the background? I was like this. I was like, is the money falling? Somebody tell me. I can't tell.
And ladies and gentlemen, you heard me right.
Like this money might fall like Okada.
He is definitely a legend of championship culture. And that's who he is, the 6'12", CEO, but no, we ain't gonna take digs. Of TRDA, which he's sporting on his shirt and his hat. Realness, welcome back to your show. How you feeling, brother?
I'm good. I was happy to be back, man. Championship culture. This is the first time in season 3 that I've shown up. I got my HBK vibes on. It's nice and red.
I see.
And I'm ready to talk about some championship wrestling in tonight's show. When I heard what the show was going to be about, I said, wait a goddamn minute. This sounds like something the realness should be a part of. And I said, okay, there's evolutions going on everywhere. And in this boom period, as I have it on the screen, as I watch this as of this recording, NXT, I said, wait a minute. We got new belts. What better show to introduce the new concepts, the new evolution, and what this means for NXT? None other than the realness. So thank you, good brothers, for allowing me to be here once again. We had such a blast in season 1 and season 2. Hey, I said, wait a minute. Season 3 is here. Let's get this party started. Brothers, what are we getting into tonight?
Well, before we go any further, we gotta be definitely gotta give a shout out to our guy Justin, because you know his famous line, "It must be Tuesday." I feel like that should be on the shirt. So
Right.
5-star meal. Oh, look at this. See, he's ready. So realness.
You guys
Without
hear my hands
further
rubbing
ado,
together?
All right.
we
Here
here.
it is.
And we're not going to keep these people waiting long, right? Because we're going to talk about this, right? Because we got some things that's been burning me, some things that I've been dying to talk about. Because everybody always wants to know, what does the guy think about these belts, right? I done gave a little snippet here, I done sprinkled some dust here and there, but you know the only way championship culture guys can do it is to go in depth, to give you the why we got here, how we got here, and how we're going to keep moving forward. To steal it from the WWE when they say then, now, and forever, right?
Mhm.
But I'm gonna talk about the women's belt because you know, not because the women. I'm gonna give the women their due first, right? So before we talk about the new title, we gotta talk about how we got here. So we saw that they debuted both belts, right? But let's think about this. As history may tell us, 2013, right?
Right.
Paige won an 8-woman tournament and became the first ever NXT Women's Champion, right?
Right.
And if you go back to season 1 of Championship Culture, it's called Still Making History. Go in depth about that version of the title. Then in 2017, we got a treat. Oh, Triple H gave us a treat. He upgraded the belts, and when I tell you he upgraded, he made them feel like they were special. That's where we saw this beauty come about, right? And
Right.
even though it was from 17 to 2020, this belt was around, there was so much history, so much fanfare, so many things that if you want to, go check out volume 6 of NXT in season 2, where we talk about this belt, its holders, and everything, right? But before we go on to this, right? Realness, do you remember what happened in 2020 to this belt?
Oh boy, do I remember what happened in 2020 to that belt? Well, in true realness fashion, I am what you like to call in this space a disruptor. It's because I am here to celebrate the debut of championships. I said, wait a minute. NXT has a brand new championship, and brother guy's already started the show and he's giving me a question. But in true realness fashion, I just can't let it go to answer his question without first being a part of the moment, being a part of the debut of a championship. Is because I contributed so much to championship culture that not only did NXT get a new championship belt, your boy, the realness, got a brand new belt as well. So I'd be remiss if I don't start the show off in the spirit of why we're doing the show in the first place. It's because we're here to
is this
talk
exclusive?
we're talking about the debut. Now, mind you, for those who have seen the show, you've seen this championship before. But I am reintroducing it because it's in my possession. See, there's that voice again. It's in my possession. And today I am going to debut upon me in my possession. I'm going to put in my possession on a t-shirt with that voice on it too. In my possession, my brand new championship. So just NXT gets a new championship, men's and women's, and we're going to talk about that in the history of it. But let's talk about my history in championships. So today, ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce to you my brand new championship that is debuted here on Championship Culture. Oh, okay. Wait a minute. Time out.
Oh,
No,
boy.
this isn't the toy show. Nope. Sorry. My apologies.
Oh yeah, you're
Wrong belt. No,
season
this was a couple shows ago. But if you want to catch the show about toy belts, you can check out season 2 of Championship Culture on
Who was on that show? Who was on that show?
Playlist Championship Culture. I happen to be on that too. I apologize. I think I might have ruined the moment, but this is not the belt I was talking about. 1 minute, sorry. This is the belt I was talking about. Brand new.
What is that? What is that?
Championship Culture. Look at this. This is the fastest I've ever gotten a belt from Brandon the Guy and Brother Hugh. It hasn't gone to space. It hasn't been on the Starship Enterprise. It hasn't been in the command center. It hasn't been in the Batcave. It hasn't been to Paris. It hasn't been anywhere. But it is finally in my possession. So I want to show the world this is how, look at this beauty. I was like, man, I need me another title. And this is just, it just fits the mold. So if you want one of these, be a contributor to championship culture and you might be blessed. Now they only trios champions, and I seem to be the third person. So you got to get in where you fit in. But there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Bam! Look at that. Check out. Okay. Now I apologize once again. I do this every time I'm on this show. I'm sorry. I'm not a good guest. I'm going to say it right now.
Yep.
He said I'm not a good guest.
Shoulder. All right, hold on. Make a little bit of noise.
Oh, you're good because of the tip. Is that why you making noise?
Well, no,
Does the tip
not quite.
cause you to make noise?
Well,
I'm
Tip
just
is
saying,
heavy. It's very
yeah,
heavy.
the tip is whatever.
Okay, I'm ready.
Is that the
Go
end?
ahead, sir.
He said, okay.
Ask me your question.
So, before we get to the debut of the new version of, do you remember it was a small sliver of time in 2020 what happened to this particular belt? Because this is important to the history of the belt.
Now, what are you referring to, brother guy, when you say
What
exactly happened to this belt during 2020? Because that was a funky time period in the world of professional wrestling. It was a different type of wrestling that we weren't used to seeing, but in true WWE fashion, the show had to go on. So we're talking about a version of NXT where there was no fans, where we had, social distancing in the Capitol Wrestling Complex, as they called it at the moment, but there was a slight change.
And there was a slight change because Rhea Ripley was the champion and Adam Cole was the champion, and they were both known as the NXT champion.
True.
There was no distinction in men's or women's, and it got really confusing because one was a male, one was a female, and they were both called the NXT champion. It reverted back shortly to the women's championship, but it was good for that moment of time. WWE was trying to tell us they were on equal playing field, right? But I think they really got us in 2022 at Stand and Deliver when we had already started to digest the 2.0, and I'm going to keep calling it the color sweater. And then we had this belt debut in 2022 at Stand and Deliver. Now, realness, here's what we're going to talk about. How did we get here, right? We went from that version over my shoulder to this now. Noticeably, the NXT logo is on par with what the color, the 2.0 was. The N is a little elongated at the tip of it, and the T at the same way. X stayed the same. Now we have colors behind it in the main plate to match the 2.0 color scheme. Even on the side plates, instead of it just being solid silver, we get color on the triangle part, right? Still says women's champion, but now it's on a white strap. And lo and behold, it's the reason that now it's on a white strap. Because on the main roster, the men's and the women's belt, the way you distinguished the two was one was on a white strap. So now they really were saying they are equal. They are the same, whether it's a male or female, one just on a black strap, one on a white. So when you look at this design, does the colors actually belong on this championship?
Well, it's not my place to say whether the colors belong on the championship. I think the issue with necessarily the colors, it was a change, right? It was such a far cry from what NXT was and why we all became fans of that particular product. The same conversation we're having now is the same conversation we're having then. Is this really developmental, or is this really considered a third brand? It's because of how NXT's popularity and the growth of the superstars that debuted and had their runs at NXT went on to have good main roster opportunities in front of them. So it's like, hey, this is completely different from what we were used to. And for the diehards, it seemed as if they were taking a less serious tone when it came to NXT. I think the original introduction of the color splatter was the thing that kind of got everybody off settled. Like it was an edgier product. It was hard hitting. It was wrestling. It was in your face. It was storyline based off the product in the ring. Very different from what we saw from the main roster, obviously, because Triple H and Shawn Michaels and William Regal and his whole team was running the show. I think the color splatter represented change, and it was a change that we did not want. It's because sometimes if it's not broke, then don't fix it. And I think that was the attitude that we kind of had with the introduction of the color splatter to the World Championship. It went from seeming like, hey, this is a third brand to, wait a minute, this looks like a Saturday morning kids championship.
Yep.
So no disrespect to the ladies, and don't get me wrong, it looks absolutely beautiful on the white strap, but I think the contrast from where we started to where we got to that point made things a little fishy. So That's just my 2 cents on the color splatter and when it was introduced, especially when it came to the women's version of the championship.
That
Now,
totally makes sense what he said, to be
yeah,
honest.
and I was gonna say, Hugh, you always talk about the strap matters, right?
Hmm.
So the white strap now is being synonymous with women. And the reason I asked the realness about the color is because as a traditional wrestling, we usually see blue for a globe, red as like a banner, or if it's going to be a color, it's going to be one color that's going to signify that, that's either the strap or it's within the color of the logo. So now we got all these colors. Did the strap being white help this to distinguish that this is actually the women's quote unquote world champion? Or do you think it should have stayed on the black strap?
No, of course,
Uh,
the white. I'm sorry, we talking to me, your brother Hugh. My fault. I think I might have jumped
no,
the gun.
it's all good. I was about to say, go ahead
And
and
the
do your
only
thing
reason
because
I'm saying that
we're
because remember, the
pretty much
women's belt
same.
prior to this was still only
We're
on
still
black.
black. Yeah.
Yeah. And then they said, nope, we're going to make them all white. That's what I'm saying. In this case, the color on it, did the strap matter now because they kept the X silver for the women. And we'll get to the men later.
It makes sense because you're trying to differentiate the women's brand and the men's brand. I'm gonna separate them as different brands. Um, that's the direction that they're moving now with this new era. All women's on white straps, black straps for men. The white strap just looks phenomenal for a young lady. It gives it that feminine touch, but it makes that color pop a little bit on that particular belt. So I was a big fan for it. So yeah.
And now Justin says that's 17, as in the version I had on my shoulder. Belt looks better than the men's version because of the chrome
Because of the Chrome
X.
X. Yeah.
Yes. But then, of course, um, not Dwayne's favorite, said, and the women's title looked amazing, to be honest. Okay, we're going to take that. And Justin says, I'm probably the minority, but the color splash white strap combo goes hard on the women's title.
It does.
We're gonna get to that because
It complements the
think
colors
about
well.
think about this, and this is for you guys. When the belt debuted, it's always good when the current champion debuts it
Hmm.
because it's like a continuation of their story. Mandy Rose was on a Mandy Rose 2.0 run, right? She went back to NXT because, regardless of what's going on the main roster, she was relegated to a tag team. Then she became part of the whole thing with Otis. If we think about these things, right? But she
Right.
went back and tried to find her own self, right? And got her own faction, did her thing. Started with this version in Championship, right? Then she moved to the 2.0 version. And for 413 days, she made it seem like that was the most important thing in that on that show, right? No matter if she was cutting a promo, what she was doing, right? And it wasn't until, as I think Realness said, if somebody snitched on her, she was forced to
Somebody
drop it,
definitely
right?
finished it.
So when you saw Mandy Rose transition from this belt to the white belt, did it make her feel like she was more dominant or did it make her feel like she was more of a continuation? Because I felt like it was a different Mandy at that point.
I don't think necessarily it was the color of the championship, but I think it was once again, she was being presented in a light that we had not seen previously. She had been a tag team, she had been kind of a valet, she had kind of been of a duo, like me and you, we take on the world type archetype when it comes to pro wrestling. But this time we saw her stand on her own in a main event setting, right? And she was someone that was vocal about, I want to learn, I want to grow, I want to get better. So that was one of the things that I noticed, like, well, hey, maybe that was because we saw her in this light for the first time. It was like, okay, she carried that championship like she meant it. She carried that championship with a purpose. And like I said, they were able to take someone with main roster experience that still needed to be in that space to come in and do what she did in NXT.
And so we'll go with the story that somebody snitched on her, right? We want to
Hmm.
go into the details. But in the 2.0 days, we were introduced to Roxanne Perez. Many may have known her as Roxy in ROH. Held the title for 109 days. Dropped it for reasons. Because I think they had a whole angle where she passed out or she had an undisclosed illness, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Indy Hartwell got it. It was kind of like a thank you
She had
run for
diarrhea.
her.
Hey.
Diarrhea from drug tea.
In Indy Hartwell, it kind of was a hey, you've been here, thank you run, but then she got called up as the story was told. Then we see a Tiffany Stratton burst onto the scene. If this wasn't the success of an NIL project and an Next in Line project, I don't know what it would be. Because she
Hold up,
definitely
real quick, before you move on to Tiffany, was that the right move for Indy to move her up to the main roster at that point in time? Because she was on a roll when she had that NXT title. And then she went to the main roster and then she just died out.
But is that her fault or is that because of the booking?
I mean, that's what I'm saying. It would be booking. Yeah, it would definitely be the booking.
It's always a $1 million question.
Because she definitely put eyes on it because it was a feel good moment that Indy finally got it. She broke away, not necessarily broke away from Candice LeRae, but I love when a faction can get a singles championship. So that we can revisit that, but I'm trying to let me get to this point about the 2.0 because I promise you we're gonna get to that new version, right? Mm-hmm. But Tiffany graduated an NIL project, right? 107 days. Then we see a veteran in Becky Lynch make it a point to come back for that belt. She could have came back any other time during the Black and Gold days, during the pre 2.0 days, but she decided to come now, right? Made a point. You know, NXT was getting a lot of steam, and lo and behold, she put over Tiffany, and Tiffany lost, but then she put over Lyra Valkyria to let it be known that hey, these are NXT is in good hands. They can hang with the big dogs, right?
Yeah.
So with this 2.0 belt, and put it back on the screen here, because here's the thing I want to ask about this, right? For this short time that this belt had it, does this belt feel like a big deal for all that time, for that short time it was there? The 2.0 version from 2022 to 2024. Does this feel like this was the biggest deal for the women?
At that point in time, I think it did. And we always say the wrestler makes the championship. I would say Mandy, for me, she made it. That long run, like she rejuvenated her career. She showed that she had depth to her character and that she can actually go. She helped build other talent with Gigi Dolan and what's that, JC Jane, Toxic Attraction, and they ran things at NXT for a while. So I would say yes, for sure. It felt like a big deal, for sure.
Realness. We saw the crop of NXT, and this is where people may not know.
I don't agree.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, because I was going to give you a different take because I know you're going to say something that Hugh didn't pay attention to.
No, it's cool. I wanna give a take on that, and then you can give me the take that you had too. This is fun. I like interrupting people's shows because I don't have to do anything. I just show up right. Leave them directing traffic, but now I get to drive. Well, everything that Brother Hugh said was absolutely correct. What he talked about that I love the most, and I love when Brother Hugh does this a lot. He does this on the Wrestling From Now podcast as well. Is there's a history that he broke down, right? That gives the credibility to everyone that was involved, especially as it starts with Gigi Dolan, Mandy Rose, and Indy Hartwell, all those who were involved in that. But for me, as a casual fan, I'm not the biggest fan of what you would call women's wrestling, right? I'm like, yo, I just give me the best wrestlers, male or female. Let me see what they do. That's how I became a huge fan of Sasha Banks, Bayley, Charlotte Flair, Natalya. You know what I mean? But one thing that for me as a casual that made me go, oh shoot, maybe this version of NXT has the ability or the potential to be just as big as it was previously as we've known it in, I guess, what we call the Black and Gold era, was Becky Lynch showing up to NXT, going after that championship, right? When you look at that championship and you're dealing with change, okay, cool. I'll be the first one to tell you, change doesn't always hit me the same. It's something we always have to adjust to. It's like, wait a minute, something was successful before, now you're just completely gutting it out and you're starting over from scratch, and you expect me to stick around. And I feel like that's what was going on just in that era itself. So when that women's championship was kind of making its rounds, then of course you had someone like Mandy Rose that pretty much called her shot. You know what? This is my version. I'm coming back to stake my claim in this space. But Becky Lynch showed up. Becky Lynch was off the heels of one of her biggest and baddest runs, right?
Yeah.
Goes NXT. That's when I started paying attention, because anytime Becky Lynch is one of my favorite wrestlers. I don't do male and female. She's one of my favorite wrestlers, period. So when she showed up to the ring, I was like, wait a minute, I got to see what's going on. That's how I discovered Tiffany Stratton. I was not watching the new people. I was not giving them a chance. if anybody knows anything about me, it takes me a long time to give new things a chance, especially in wrestling. I'm like, I hear you, but I am not seeing it. But then after a while, I'm like, okay, I see it for myself. That's what made me notice Tiffany Stratton. That's what caused me to tune in every week when I was like, so for me, everything Brother Hugh said was true. That's why I had no problem interrupting, because what he said wasn't wrong. But as a casual, I was watching like, wait a minute. I came to the show in the first place because of Becky Lynch. Like I tell you all the time, I know it's wrestling, but I have so much wrestling, I don't have to go. You have to give me a reason to still show up. They said Becky Lynch is showing up and she's going after a championship. I'm like, wait a goddamn minute. If Becky Lynch shows up to NXT, there's clearly something down there that I need to figure out what's what too. And I saw Tiffany Stratton and I said, oh my gosh, this young girl is amazing. And I began to watch her. And not only her, I stayed around for the rest of the show. So I saw the other talent, men's and women's division. And I was like, you know what? If Becky Lynch didn't care so much about that particular championship, she wasn't there in the black and gold era at this height. She was there for a cup of coffee and then she got out of it because she was just that good. Excuse me. So for her to have the career she had and then went back to NXT for that particular championship, I think it said a lot. And I think to me, it set the tone for the level of importance for that championship, because everybody that came after that, it was automatically a big deal. Because everybody's like, Becky Lynch, you got in the ring with Tiffany, you didn't get in the ring with me. And like everybody wanted to go after her. But then when she dropped the title, all that attention that was on Becky Lynch because she's the man, it went directly to that particular championship. And I think to me that
to the championship, not to wrestling.
Bingo. I think that was the cornerstone of what made those young girls, because we got introduced to so much young talent because of her, because of Natalya, because every young girl wanted to get in the ring with these vets. And these vets are Hall of Famers. They don't have to go to NXT. So it was like, when you look at what they were doing after that period, I feel like at that point, that was a catalyst for like the women's division in NXT as far as developmental and, you know, rebranding itself, to me, took off. And that's how we have so much young talent now that we're all familiar with. And then you had the women's rumble that came up. They were bringing up everybody. They were introducing all the new talent to the world. And I think that was for me, that was the biggest cornerstone for that particular championship. I have successfully disrupted the situation. You're welcome.
Bring your eyes to the product. That's what it did.
Yeah. And the last thing I wanted to get y'all to think about, because what made Mandy Rose a cornerstone for the 2.0, remember, she merged the belts together with the NXT UK. But pre that point, and when she was finishing up her run, Mandy Rose had matches with the likes of Cora Jade, Io Shirai. We're going to call it Io Shirai in NXT, and Kylie Ray. One. You know what I mean? She introduced us to Wendy Chu, and that was the pillow over her face thing. And then she laid her foot, Alba Fire in 2.0. So it was like, she's having good dance partners. And then they did the same thing for Roxanne Perez. Now we have somebody with this title, Gigi Dolan, JC James, names that are specific to NXT. But now we're going to say, we got a Zoe Starks, Gigi Dolan, Tiffany Stratton, Lyra Valkyria, Indy Hartwell, all versus Roxanne Perez. You know what I mean? We get all these different matchups. My favorite matchup was Tiffany Stratton and Thea Hale. They made me pay attention to, this division is, because I was a Kylie Ray fan, Mio Sakamura, I was NXT UK through and through. So now you're getting these other people that are catching my attention, and it's all around. They're going after this belt. I'm like, yes, we can remember Raquel Gonzalez, Io Shirai, Charlotte Flair, and Rhea Ripley being entangled for those 3 months over that belt. But this felt like more of a chase, more of a prestige, more of something to sink your teeth in, because it was Becky Lynch wanted it. And now Becky Lynch gone, what are y'all going to do? And it seemed like it never lost its steam. And even to the point when Roxanne has it now, she probably is the perfect person. Just like I said with Mandy Rose, how she just went from one title to the next. Because now we have, I'm going to call Roxanne 2.0 version, because it's not the same one that had our first title run. Now we're in an evolution of Roxanne Perez. So when we talk about NXT is changing the game, they definitely changed it with this title. Because the new title that debuted in NXT, man, oh man, this women's championship is something to marvel at. And I don't want to just break it down, but I want to tell you this. If this white strap doesn't make this belt look beautiful, I don't think they could have did anything different. And I'm just going on record saying that because when you look at this belt, yes, it gives you that UFC appeal for their legacy championships. Kept the ribbons to call back to the original black and gold version. They kept the ribbons on the side. It has black, gold, and white, which is still reminiscent of now we're in the black and silver era. You got the globe behind it. It says women's championship. Got the triangles that was reminiscent of the first version. Now, what I love about NXT, they have always kept their logo front and center on their men's and women's belt. Kept it there. The gold subtle with the women's around right above the NXT, perfectly placed. The gold WWE logo, perfectly placed. The side plates, the gold trimming around it just to highlight, to draw your eye to the NXT. Everything about this belt seems to be done purposefully to show this is a big deal. And who better than the woman that has been beating all of the best wrestlers on the NXT roster and in TNA, because she beat Jordan Grace, to usher it into this new era. So, realness.
Are you sick? Did you just say that?
I said what I said.
Okay, all right. I
said what I said.
I meant to clip that off.
Okay.
You heard that, Dwayne?
Do you need some Alka-Seltzer? Are you okay? You okay, buddy?
Who better on the roster?
Somebody call 911. Other guy's not okay.
Look where we landed. Let's see. We landed on CW, right? Who better to usher in a CW era than Roxanne Perez?
You said she'd be Jordan Grace?
Yeah, she'd be Jordan Grace. And Jordan is one of my favorites.
No, I know. I think that's kind of what we were alluding to. Make sure you're okay. I didn't think you would openly admit that in front of everybody on the show.
I know, right?
Yeah, because I was breaking down the belt. So I was in my happy place with the belt.
No,
I wanted everybody to see because that. Yeah, so Hugh, go back to the belt because I wanted to see who was realness. When you first saw this belt, what was your initial reaction? Yeah, back to it, thank you. What was your initial reaction of this belt?
Well, first of all, I was amazed at how they were able to adapt a new look that captures this version of NXT, the rebrand, the new era, but as well as finding a way to kind of pay homage to the past of what NXT was and just the color scheme. Like we were used to seeing gold with black accents, but to see majority black accents with the gold trim is like, oh, that's sexy. It's such a different look. And I said it before. I know the first time we talked about this on the Wrestling Realm Now podcast, I said it's very hard to have a classic look with a modern feel to it, or a modern look with a classic feel to it. We saw it already with the North American Championship, right? When you
that's what I looked right at. That's the only first thing I thought about.
See, that's how we have belt brain. You know what belt brain is? It's when everyone who has belt brain is on the same wavelength at any part in the world. They just, so when you say certain things, they just understand. And that's how I felt when I first saw this championship. It was very clean. It was very to the point. Absolutely beautiful. It's everything that I personally would want in a championship belt, especially for the women's titles. It was something that I would need in my collection if it was bigger. Like if I were to get a custom version of this, which I don't like doing if WWE already has a version of, I would get it in like men's size. I said the same thing about the Women's World Championship on Raw when Rhea Ripley first showed up with it. So
the details show up much better on a white strap too.
And I think there's something about it. It's just it's a certain color pop to it. And it stands in its same importance as the men's title, which is always important, is because you never want to treat your women's championship like it's a second tier title. So for instance, what I'm referring to is, you give a woman a certain size championship, and then they always gave the women much, 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 much smaller. Now I understand the size and the build of women is different than men, but not to a point where it looks drastically different. Like remember AEW's first women's championship looked like something from the original days when they first introduced belts. And they were literally like belts. They were very skinny. It was just like big side plates and like a big front, but it looked like buckle. Bingo. And I was like, yo, this is, but then of course as time evolved, the championships got bigger, and I felt the same way about the women's championship. So, I'm glad that they were able to adapt not only a new look, but a fresh style, but also, of course, your famous callbacks and, like I said, giving yourself a modern take on a classic feel for any championship. It's an absolute beauty.
Because, if you look at the one that birthed it, kept the ribbons. kept the shape minus the
Mhm.
X, kept the circle outline without having to put stones on it. Hugh, did you notice that?
I
They
see.
never had to put stones on these belts because the design are the zone stones. And then they kept the NXT as the focal point. And now you just see more of the globe instead of it being designed. Kept the triangles, made them a little bit more simple. But this time, women is straight across because you don't have that big space with X, and the WWE logo was different. So that's what I immediately was like, I love it when it's almost like a tribute to the past, but paying forward in the future.
Okay,
And
here it
it's
comes. Disruptor again. Sorry. Disruptor
okay.
again. That's what I do. Disruptor again. Belt guy. You're not getting off the hook. I appreciate you being well behaved and you're orchestrating, you're asking all these wonderful questions, but it's not going to be that simple with the realness on the show, and you know it. With that being
Mhm.
said, I'm switching it up on you. As a belt designer yourself, you have designed, you probably lost count of how many belts you've designed and created up to this point. My question to you is when you see that type of championship, right? Brother Hugh made a face, so there must be more belts on the way. He gave it away, so it's no surprise. When you see it, when you see a championship that has that modern feel but has a classic take on it, does that affect how you in turn begin to say, okay, it's 2024, 2025, 2026, and so on and so forth. This is how we should start designing championships. Now, I say that is because every belt that I've seen you design, for the most part, has had a very classic look to it, very traditional look to it. I'm curious to see from a belt designer's perspective when you start to see this being kind of the new standard. Do you feel like this is where you start to say, okay, maybe when we design belts, or maybe the next belt I design, not necessarily for yourself, but do you start to take a look at how do we start to adapt a modern look and style for championships, but we can still keep a classic feel in a similar fashion that NXT has managed to do? Is because I don't think, and correct me if I'm wrong, with the exception of a handful of smaller but major indie promotions, the WWE seems to be the only one that is like taking a modern take on what the championship title looks like. And it ruffles feathers at first, but then after a while, it becomes the new standard. So does seeing such a beauty in the new women's championship, how it WWE seemingly found a way to say, okay, we can make this new and make it look and feel old, but still provide a fresh take on what a championship should look like. Does that affect how you look at things? Do you start to say, maybe when I design things, I want to start having a modern look, a modern cut? So, brother Hugh, you mind putting the women's championship back on the screen? What I'm referring to is, when we look at Czech classic belts, there's a lot of curl patterns, but like, these are very sharp edges, right? As
Mhm.
far as the main plate, we see very sharp corners, very defined shapes, but then we see like, the Superman looking emblem at the top with the WWE logo in the middle, but then you have your traditional globe, but then you have like a classic, almost Air Force looking piece where it has the women's title on it, and then champion at the bottom of it. So, but then if you look at the etching on the actual strap, sure, it has the same ridges and it has the grommets,
The
but the
clamshell
etching
tool.
has a
Yeah.
classic floral feel to it. Does that affect how you begin to say, hey, maybe there's a new way we can start designing championship belts as a designer?
So you're gonna laugh when I say this because the first thing I told Hugh, and Hugh agreed with me, it looks very clean.
Mhm.
So the good thing about that, it just looks clean. Whenever you design it in belt, especially for people. Now, for myself, it's going to be the look that I always want a belt that's going to turn somebody's eye. You're going to look at it, you're like, what is that? I've never seen that before. But with this, it's starting to influence because if you notice on Hugh's championship culture belt, his has a very clean look to
You're
it.
absolutely right, brother. Hugh, can we see
And
that?
that was my experiment with. Let me see if I can do something in a clean look. And when I say clean look, one not stacked, not raised, not engraved, the straight logo, and the rest of it is just clean. And when I say clean, if you look at these NXT titles, I'm sorry, above
Mhm.
me, they had a very clean.
I was literally looking at them as you mentioned that. That's exactly how those NXT tag
and
titles.
I stared at it because we've gotten to the point where, and if it wasn't for, let's say, AEW tag belt looks plain because of all of their details of the other belts. The international title looks so good because we're used to seeing that big gold type of pattern behind it.
And
Then when you
etching and
saw the
stuff on
tag
the
belt,
plate.
you're like, ooh, you know what I mean? So the clean look, definitely, like as you
There you
see
go.
his center plate, just clean. It's just the logo and nothing else. It's some logos and everything's clean. No pattern, no filler. The stars were, to add something, but it's very flat, very clean looking. So
Mhm.
yes, I think that design is going to start to become a staple the more it catches on. But it really depends on the beholder because if somebody tells me I like the big gold, the wing eagle, and the IWGP version 3, I'm gonna
Sure.
take inspiration from that to try to make sure that that belt is something similar that they want. Now they say, "Do you?" Then I might present something like, "Hey, how about this?" Because it's something
Right.
I've been toying with. Because I was toying with, and I don't know if he wants to say he had asked me to start coming up with a design for a certain belt, and I came up with a lot of different things. And
Mhm.
remember, I said floor pattern or not, with a cleaner look, because I was like, in certain spaces, you want the belt to give off a certain look. And the
Right.
thing about that belt with NXT, I first was mad because it didn't have gold on it, but then I
Mhm.
said, wait a minute, they don't have gold in their logo. The gold is
True.
just to highlight the silver and the black. The gold is to break it up so it doesn't just look like a ECW championship, the WWE version. It's to break it up a little.
Right.
And that's what I like about it, that it's giving you that slow feel because like on Hugh belt, the red breaks up the silver and gold.
Mhm.
It's
It
always
definitely pops.
something, yeah, it's something just to draw your eye away from all of that. Like when you look at certain belts with a mirror finish or certain belts like the ROH championships, they look too simple. The
Yeah.
original ones, the silver ones, they're just too simple. Like they needed something else to offset it, and that red was only in one spot. It wasn't really nothing to offset it. Like if you look at the NXT ones, that gold is strategic. Put it back up here. The gold on this is placed in points to draw your eye to it. Like when those side plates come off and you put an individual side plate, remember
Mhm.
those side plates are gold. So
Yeah.
that's going
Oh,
to be
okay.
gold
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
it. So which will be good. And then now it's not going to take away from the side. It's going to add to those side plates. If you look, the thing to highlight on there is that it's the women's championship. If you couldn't tell from the white strap, the women is right there in gold. And
Right.
just the main plate has a gold outline that when the light hits it a certain way, it's going to shine a certain way. When you see this belt in different spaces, it's going to make people say, oh, what's NXT if they don't know what
Right.
NXT is. If they're doing a crossover, and let's say they do a crossover with a CW show, Roxanne Perez can be Roxanne Perez, the NXT champion. It doesn't
Right.
have to be a different character. She can be that character as the champion. They could be at the mall doing a sign in the show, whatever it may be. She could do different things and have that belt. So that's a good thing about this design. It's going to work in multiple places because even if you have that, the women's world champion, or the classic looking now network logo belt that which color has the WWE women's champion, all three of them can fit in any space and draw your eye to it and say, wait a minute, she's a big deal. What's that?
Makes sense.
So I
There
know
you go.
that was a
I always like to get belt people's perspective, especially someone that actually designs and creates. Like it's a different it's
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 definitely
always a different
marketable.
take. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It
And I
is.
think the silver is something that was done intentional because when we got the new logo, it's just we can call it silver or gray, but it's black and let's say silver instantly. So you're like, oh, okay, then we got to like it makes sense. It
Yeah.
fit.
It
But
does.
they had to put a little gold on there to show because I think they learned from mistakes before that a silver belt don't always work out well for WWE. And
It's
we're
well,
going,
also timing. I don't. I like
yeah,
the
we're
championship,
going.
but during that time period, this wasn't. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
everybody here said that.
Mm.
But I think, and correct me if I'm wrong. I think we've done the women's championship some justice here. What say you guys?
I think so.
Yeah. Hmm.
Okay,
I think we gave some history. We gave the design as the aesthetic and the aspects that made the new stuff. So I think we did a good job. I think we're rolling, cooking with hot
okay,
grease.
we could. I say cooking with gasoline. Here, let's tell the people. Give them a special message real quick.
If you're looking to purchase tickets to concerts, live shows, sporting events, and more, head over to SeatGeek.com where you can use our promo code Wrestling Realm for any one-time purchase of $50 or more. That's promo code Wrestling Realm on any one-time purchase of $50 or more.
What he said.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, that was a clean. Oh, hey, I'm sorry. We're back. All right. So Hugh,
Yes, sir.
realness.
Yes,
When
sir.
we talk about the men's championship, right?
Mhm.
It almost has a similar history to the women's, except for being a year earlier. This belt was introduced first, not this version, but NXT Men's Championship was introduced in 2012. And as we know, Tyler Black, as I knew him, / Seth Rollins, won. You got to get. I don't know why NXT like eight people tournaments, but it was an 8-man tournament. They just cut and paste and said we're going to keep going with it. Give us these superstars. Let's have some good matches.
Right.
And if you go back to NXT Volume 1 in Season 1, you'll have an in-depth of that first era. But just like the women, in 2017, we had a change, right?
So are we
go,
just going to disrespect who else was in that match? We just going to mention Seth Rollins and not who was in that championship match? Well, why do we do this?
go ahead. You only way I'm gonna say if you say his name. So Seth
Okay.
Rollins defeated who? Realness.
The modern day Maharaja Jinder Mahal, also known as today as Raj Desi.
Thank you.
Do you see our hands? It's not.
Which
Right.
which was a different version of his belt. And look what happened. His birthday.
Thank you.
Sorry, guys.
Thank you. Don't hinder the
Sorry,
gender.
guys.
Yeah, always disrespecting, bro. Always
He was a
disrespecting.
good champion.
He was.
So Tyler Black, Seth Rollins won, and I'm gonna call him Tyler Black as long as they had that gold streak in his hair. But
No.
in
Why?
2017,
No. Sorry.
That's no. They
No,
can't do
I'm
that.
not. The show cannot go on. The show cannot go on. You guys provoke me every time I come on this show, and you think I'm going to let things slide. I told you season 3 is not going down that way. Why?
I'll just hold the belt like this.
Why are the indie guys so obsessed with Tyler Black? Tyler Black. I remember seeing, I was on Instagram, and there's a custom figure maker at the time named Scribble24. I don't think Scribble24 does customs anymore. And he had made a custom Tyler Black. And of course, somebody comments like, Tyler Black should have been called up to the main roster from FCW. I don't know what's taking so long. He's been there for a year now. And I'm like, okay, cool. All right, whatever. That's how I got familiar with who he was. So then Seth Rollins shows up, NXT, very different look. And he has superseded any and everything he's done as Tyler Black. So why can't you indie darlings just let Tyler Black go? Because Seth Rollins and Tyler Black are two completely different individuals. Now, El Generico and Sami Zayn, you can make some about a mask, not a mask. Those early years.
But see, that's my problem right there, because this was during the "He Who Shall Not Be Named" time frame when nobody could keep their name, and we were getting weird names, and we were getting weirder and weirder names, and then we were getting names that were insulting our television. So we couldn't keep Kevin Steen, but we could get Kevin Owens. And I understand. Once he told us why it was Owens, I was okay with it. We couldn't keep certain names, but we were. Then finally, when certain things changed, we were able to keep them. But remember, El Sombra became who?
La Sombra became El Idolo. His name. Freaking
Andrade Cien Almas.
Yeah.
Cien Almas. Say his whole name. You know what I mean? So I'm always a fan of, man, why you gotta change it? Look, come on now. Like, and I was an indie guy. At the time, I was an indie guy.
Oh my God.
That was my attachment. That was my attachment.
But why though? Can I ask you why though? Like, think about it. We have gotten some of the iconic names in wrestling that are synonymous with history. Seth Rollins. You say the name Seth Rollins. Oh my goodness. Are you kidding me? And you say the name Tyler Black.
But you got to think back in 2020. I mean 2012.
That's
what was
fair.
I like? I was an indie guy.
Seth Rollins didn't know who Indy Rollins. Seth Rollins didn't know who Seth Rollins was back in that day either. But
right,
I get it.
You
Fair
know
enough.
what I'm saying? Like that was my problem, and that's my only thing. Like, stop changing people's name, because I was a different brand. I was the indie guy. I watched these people in the indie, and it was like, because remember, I was excited when El Generico came. I was like, oh, his mask is gone. I was like, what? Like, why?
Yeah,
why would you do that?
Remember, we were confused because he debuted at a FCW house show with the mask. So they said they let him work as El Generico to see what happened, and the next day they said, "Nah, he's dead."
He said he's saying, but literally he had the same moveset. I said, he's El Generico.
Similar gear, like that's what I liked about it. Like he kept like it was like an updated version of himself. But one more thing before we move on, I'm sorry, because your super producer might have a problem with this. If that attitude was the right attitude to have, Brother Brandon, we would not get such gracious names such as Dolph Ziggler.
Exactly.
He would still be Nick from the Spirit Squad. Huh? Nick Nemeth from the Indies?
What was his name when he was the caddy?
He was
Kerwin White.
No,
Kerwin-
that was
Chavo.
Chavo's name.
He had
Oh,
like
that was
he had like
Chavo.
a preppy,
Yeah.
a racist preppy name as well.
Yeah.
He had a racist preppy name as well. But yeah, I don't know.
Oh,
I just
God.
had a little bone to pick with you. Do you indie guys about that? Like he's like, oh, I'm gonna cut.
Yeah, that was
You're not the only one that's done that. No, I'm calling him Tyler Black. Like, what do you mean Tyler Black? Tyler Black was in a dying Ring of Honor.
He was.
no. I'm saying that was for my. At that time, I was a different person.
You were.
I was my because remember when and I was looking up for the name because it was so bad I took it out of my head. Remember, what you call it did it for a while too in TNA, so they wasn't. They was doing it too because remember what was Xbox name? He went back to his real name. I was like, that's Xbox. I was like,
But
that's Xbox. Why are you doing
That's
that?
the whole point, though. By the time he didn't need to use his real name, like
that's true,
Adam Copeland. We know your age.
Yeah, you're Edge. Like, stop it. But like, remember, they had all those people come up, and one of them we remember distinctly, and I'm gonna just say the name that they were using, Rashard Cameron. I was like, why?
Who was
I was
that?
like, why would you? Think
Who was Rashard Cameron? I forgot. You actually
I
right.
don't
Who
know
the
that
heck was that?
in TNA because he came with not the guy with the mask, Jigsaw, not Jigsaw. Yeah, Jigsaw. Jigsaw kept his name, but what you call it had to be Rashard Cameron.
I forgot. I was
He
about
was
to
part
say.
of the Black Ops stable, Black G's Sabian.
Oh yeah. I mean,
And
yeah.
that's why that was doing my write off. Why y'all keep changing people's names?
Oh,
But
definitely.
because
Definitely is Black Jesus' name. Yep.
yeah, you
Oh
had to
my
change that
gosh.
one.
I
He
forgot
could
he was
just
even
been
there.
saying
That's
it.
bad.
Yeah,
He was there for a hot second with his hair out.
and what you call it, and just a full blown, or like, well, let me Xavier Woods. We're not gonna talk about that, but okay.
Consequences free. You not feeling it?
Yeah,
Okay. Sorry. Back to
yeah.
belt.
Sorry. All right, so where were we? See, this is why this is fun. When we talk about belts, this is why it gets fun because the crazy part is after this whole historic run in the black and gold, they gave us an upgrade to this belt, right?
Mhm.
And the glorious one is the one that debuted, right?
Mhm.
Yes.
And the difference is now they gave the women the same belt except for the gold and silver, which is flopped. The men's X was gold, the women's was silver. A lot of people like the women's because they say they pop more on TV.
It does
But-
now. Looking at it, yeah, it looks so
but
much
now-
better.
Yeah, it has a different feel to it. The women's belt has such a different feel because the gold behind it makes everything look a little different. But even
You
so,
guys kind of got a point there. I was like, well, I looked at it side by side. I was like, well,
yeah, it works a little bit more, right?
Right.
But if you go back and look at season 2, was it season 2 or season 1 of NXT Volume 4? We go in depth about this version of the belt. So over on that playlist of Championship Culture, you can go see Volume 4. It deals with all of that. But on April 5th,
was I on that show?
2022,
I keep throwing Brother
Are you-
Brandon off. He's got to be
I
to
don't
keep
think
up.
you were.
I just
you know
Was I on
why
the
you
show?
wasn't?
I wasn't
Because
on
I
that show?
gave my top 5 of people to
Oh,
hold.
yeah.
Oh
this
yeah, you
version.
did.
You know the crazy
I
part
did.
is, I realized where I was at. I was in the comments doing exactly what I'm doing now. Just trying to get my 2
Because I was
cents in.
trying. Look, because we had graphics for each one. Because Hugh couldn't figure out which Finn Balor to do. He was like, "Is it the demon or the regular one? Which one is it?" I was like, "Put them both on there."
You're right.
And I think he put both of them on
I
each
did,
side
yeah.
of them.
I
One
did.
was a demon, and one was the Finn Balor, the second reign with the X. I was like, just go with it. Just go with it. But April 5th, 2022, on an episode of NXT, random episode, Braun Breaker, before known as the BA Braun Breaker, because I don't know if I can say that on the air, he debuted
On the bad
this
grass.
belt.
The bad
Yeah, the
grass
bad-
on breaker.
The bad guy.
Look at brother. He looks so confused. Like what?
Yeah.
Bad
He
grass.
debuted this belt, right? And when this belt came along, just like the women's belt, with 2 differences. It's on a black strap, and it doesn't have the women part cut into it. Same
Uh-oh.
color splatter. Now, here's a major, major difference for this belt. When I tell you it's the same as the women's, everything to the X that everybody's putting out that they like for the women's title, it's like maybe Triple H was listening to you guys and said, make the X silver on this. because the NXT logo is now silver. At the time, the NXT logo had color splatter behind it, but now on our championship, for both the men's and the women, they were both the X was silver, and it was silver with that honeycomb, that cage type of pattern on it, and
Honeycomb.
with the I had to catch myself, not honeycomb, but the cage pattern with not necessarily bolts on it, but bolt like things on each one, like it's been screwed in. So that's a noticeable difference because they're more protruding on that. The N goes almost down to the rivets, just like the women. The T cuts over beyond the accent of the belt. And the NXT side plates are slightly stacked. And we got the green on the side. Same exact belt as the women with those few changes. But it was a bigger change for the men because now the X is silver. The good thing about this belt, now we can honestly say, just like on Raw, SmackDown, and NXT, the men and women belts are the same. One is just on a white strap, one's on black strap. And this was during a time when we had all the network logo. So this is right before we got the change of to the World Heavyweight Champion and all that stuff, right? But the crazy part about this belt has some grit to it, right?
No, it didn't.
Because it didn't? Okay. Why didn't it, realness?
It's because somebody spilled their finger paint on it.
Okay, why did they? That's what you think happens? They spilled their fingerprint on it.
Somebody's child was playing with watercolor in the house, and they spilt it on there, and they were like, "Oh shoot, we got to take this to TV." And that's what happened. That's the story. Somebody told me.
I was about to say it looked like a box of crayons.
How did the X become silver? That's what I want to know. Well, how did they do the X then?
Because it was silver paint. And it's like, oh shoot, this part is silver. Well, just color the rest of it silver. We got to take this to TV. And they said, oh, I got an idea. Let's just leave the color splatter and just color the rest silver to cover it up. And I said, okay, it doesn't matter.
I feel like that's what happened to the logo. Somebody was playing, their kid was playing when they said, oh, this is kind of cool. Run with it. That's such good. But I think that's what happens. That story is probably more about, we'll get that in volume 2 of the Vince McMahon documentary. Who killed NXT? So back to this, right? The color splatter. When I say it had some grit, we know the story. Samoa Joe sort of writing on the wall that 2.0 was coming. He relinquished it.
It was an injury. He said he saw the writing on the wall. Nope, I'm not doing it. I'm injured. I got to lose the belt.
Yeah, he said, nope.
Everybody left. Yes. Walter left and changed his name. Tommaso Ciampa did the favors and got out of there. Samoa Joe didn't even show up on TV. He did like a little phone video and was like, all right, well, this is it.
It's probably because I mentioned his name.
Yeah, he probably did. Yep, that's exactly
he has no power here. He's like the devil. He has no power here anymore.
Tommaso, right?
He gets in the background.
He got it right. All the fire, the demon. I can't stand Joe. Braun,
you will not be a professional when I'm involved in the show.
Because I done lost my whole track. Because I'm trying to see how we get to the new belt, right?
Okay. Let me help you out.
Okay.
You were talking about the 2.0. Now I got you. I'll bring you back. See, I threw you off track. I'm gonna put you back on track. So you're talking about the 2.0 belt, Braun Breaker, color splatter belt. Samoa Joe saw the writing on the wall after he had a banger of a match with Karrion Kross. To me, the best Karrion Kross match I've seen was on the last takeover. And that was also the same match we saw Ilya Dragunov and they take down the monster Walter. And
okay, you say okay.
Oh, I didn't forget about my boy Walter. And and I was like, oh man, this is great. And then Samoa Joe decides, hey, I'm not gonna show up, I'm injured. And I'm like, you're not even gonna make a real video package. He shot that on his phone and sent it in. And they relinquished it and said, we gotta crown a new champion. And it was all these new faces. Tommaso Johnson shows up, and I'm like, they looked around and said, oh no, these are all kids in here, man. Everybody's gone. Johnny Gargano, we didn't know what he was doing. Remember, he was a free agent.
Right.
Yeah, because he
knew if he was going to resign.
His contract right out.
Yeah, so everybody was nervous.
Adam Cole left. Kyle O'Reilly left. Cool.
Everybody.
Kyle,
it's because Adam Cole and Kyle had their last match. Like,
remember he was Cool Kyle and he left.
Yeah,
nobody remember that. And so it was good old faithful Ciampa. He's there to say, but then, oh, hold on, we gotta make room for this new star, right?
No, he didn't. He said, none of my friends are here anymore. I'm leaving.
So Braun Breaker gets it. And dang it, if NXT didn't throw everybody at him, when I tell you everybody, they threw a Joe Gacy,
No.
Cameron Gines,
Nope. You're not saying anybody.
Santos Escobar,
Okay, he counts.
JD McDonough,
No.
Tyler Bate,
That's personal.
Apollo Crews,
Apollo Crews,
Grayson Walter, twice Grayson
Grayson
Waller.
Waller. Nah.
And the man to take it from him was none other than who?
My guy. My guy.
He's here to show the world. He's
Yes,
here to
sir.
show the world. Come on,
He
bring
Play
it on.
his music, the good one. Let's go.
So he had to take it from him, right? But then what he had
Yeah.
to do, he said, "No, I got to get it back." Right.
Yeah.
But on his dominant run, he made this belt seem like it was a big deal because he was not only taking down NXT of old, he was taking down main roster, and he
Yeah.
was taking down NXT up and comers / people that were there to establish names. Because let's call it what it is. He took on an Ilyanov and won. He took down Grayson Waller because remember, Grayson Waller was getting pushed to the, I don't want to say Cameron guys like moon and back, but all of these guys they were pushing because Santos Escobar was always good for a good match, right?
Yeah, he was.
Oh,
Couldn't go
Yeah,
wrong with him.
he said it. Tyler Bate, the first NXT UK champion, and not to mention a lot of people that were going back because we saw Apollo Crews go back. We saw these things, and it was kind of a thing where like it was more character focused, but in the character focus, they were rising to the top to this title because the North American title was a thing, but this was the title that everybody was chasing. These people didn't have runs with these titles; they went straight for that. So my thing that I'm going to ask y'all: do you think that 2.0 had some influence on the chase of this title to put more emphasis on the 2.0?
Oh crap! Now we gotta talk real stuff. Brother, you want to go first, or you gonna make me go?
I'm gonna make you go because you're the guest.
Oh shoot! I had a feeling. As soon as I asked him that, he's probably like, "No, really, let's go ahead and do
You
it."
know he gonna
Yeah,
say no.
absolutely,
Why would you even
absolutely.
go? You gotta
He's
tell
like,
him, go ahead. You just gotta be like,
Here's-
go ahead. You.
Mhm.
Here's the thing. Now I gotta settle down. When you talk about the objective of what this version of NXT was, let me just go ahead and give a preface. None of us knew what it was supposed to be, right? The only people that knew were insiders. So naturally, we talked about it early on the show that us older fans, including myself, I'm guilty, don't always respond to change very well.
Mhm.
And it looked like all of our heavy hitters were gone. Now, we know there was this back and forth thing about NXT guys not wanting to go to the main roster for a number of different reasons. Did Byron Saxon get a demotion? He's on NXT now. Sorry. And
He's been there, hasn't he?
I don't
thought
know.
he'd been-
No.
I feel like he's been on there, hasn't he?
No,
I
he
thought that was
on-
when they
he
shook
was
up all the
SmackDown.
backstage people. I thought he
Yeah,
went
he-
there when they shook up all the backstage people.
Oh, you're probably right. I just didn't realize it.
I thought he
I
went to
could be
SmackDown.
wrong.
I thought he went to SmackDown and then
No,
the two
he's on
ladies went to
SmackDown. He's
Raw.
on.
Listen, the brand split means nothing.
Right.
'Cause
They're-
you had-
they're everywhere.
You had Metaphor on Raw.
That's true.
Y'all
So-
both said the same thing. That's true.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Well.
1 minute in, an hour and 3 into this, they said the same thing.
Well, here's the thing. We didn't know what this version of NXT was supposed to be. So naturally there was it was like they were starting from scratch. They blew it all up and said we're going to rebuild it. And they were going with all new faces. And we got Braun Breaker, and he was someone that he clearly had talent, and clearly we all knew his lineage, we clearly knew his history. But they didn't throw it in our faces. We just kind of knew it, right? And he took down some heavy hitters. He sent all of our favorites packing. He sent Tommaso Ciampa packing. He sent Walter packing. Ilya was on his way out the door. You know, he was there. Ilya was almost like a special attraction for NXT for that run. But when you look at it, hindsight being 2020 and being a Monday morning quarterback, you realize that Triple H and Shawn Michaels realized that they couldn't do NXT the way they did it before. And they were starting over from scratch, this time with young talent. And it was going to be done a little bit differently than what we were accustomed to. And when you look at what they did to get Braun Breaker over with that championship, you can't deny the lineage of it and the importance of it, because look where Braun Breaker is then and look where he is now and the impact that he's having on the main roster. And you have to give credit to that Crayola Crayon championship that NXT I guess we can call it 2.0 title because it wasn't NXT 2.0 for long,
Yeah,
you know. But when you look at what it did what it was supposed to do. It did what it was supposed to do. That championship showed up on the main roster with his feud with Dolph Ziggler. One of the best feuds that I've ever seen both men have. I wanted him to have an extensive feud with like Bobby Roode, is because him getting a chance to work with those veterans, Dolph Ziggler winning it, him winning it back. I showed up to same thing. I showed up to NXT on Tuesday. Mind you, I wasn't giving it a chance because I don't do new, right? It takes me some time to get adjusted. Like, oh, wait a minute, this is actually pretty good. He showed up on Raw. They got into it and says, I'll see you tomorrow on Tuesday. And I was like, well, shoot, let me show up to NXT. And I was not disappointed by any stretch of the imagination. And it was for that particular championship. So when you talk about where that lineage began, it started off on the right foot. DX did exactly what they said they were going to do. They said, we're going to gut this out. We're going to start over. We're going to put him through the ringer. And yet we're going to accomplish what we're set out to accomplish. And you say, well, realness, how is that true? How did it work? Because if that's just one guy, it followed where it followed. Look at what Carmelo Hayes. These are the two guys that they initially said, hey, we're going to start this thing over. We're rebooting and we're going to reboot it around YouTube. I didn't know who the heck Carmelo Hayes was. I said, bro, don't give me another black dude with swag. Okay, I know. My people are naturally swaggy. I get it. That's not enough for me. Right. By the time it was all said and done, I know exactly who Carmelo Hayes is. And when I see him on the main roster on SmackDown, hey, bro, much respect to you. I see what you're doing. That's all connected to this championship, the 2.0, the color splatter, the championship that we despised. Ilya Dragunov having that opportunity to carry that championship, he added a level of prestige to it. He did. As much as I don't want to admit it, I was like, man, and then you look at it all the way down from Ilya Dragunov to Trick Williams, the feud he had going from being almost a manager, a mouthpiece, a side guy, to being the main event, and now almost the face of the franchise for NXT. Everything he did with Carmelo Hayes and everything he did to slay the dragon and Dragunov to kind of, and then Ethan Page, my guy, had the championships. The problem is, I think I'm going to end up having to get this stupid championship just because of the lineage that's attached to it. And I'm like, I really don't want to, but I'm like, yo, my guy Ethan Page had it, Trick Williams had it, Melo had it, Ilya had it, Braun Breaker had it, Dolph Ziggler had it. I'm like, crap. So as much as I hate to admit it, you can't deny that whatever they were trying to accomplish, they did it, and they did it well. It's because I just named 4 or 5 stars, not to mention the guys that didn't necessarily have runs, like the Grayson Wallace. I wasn't familiar with him. I knew him from NXT, whatever. By the time he got to the main roster, I'm like, okay, I know who Grayson Waller is. He makes sense. I get it. And he's a full-blown character. He has a bright future. It's like, and these are all the young talents that I was not getting. They were always there. I just didn't give them a chance because I'm stubborn. I wasn't giving them a chance. But then I'm like, okay, I have no choice but to respect what they were able to do. And it makes sense for Braun Breaker to take out a Gunther, Walter at the time, Ilya Dragunov, a Trick Williams, so on and so forth. Just the names, the Dolph Zigglers. It's like, okay, well, when you look at his evolution from where he started to now, you can't deny that it's not connected to that NXT championship. That's all you're going to get out of me.
Hey, I forgot I got to add that one to the list. The NXT title.
Yeah, you have to now. See, I broke it
because that it is crazy because you got the perfect. Put that image back on. Yeah, and it is crazy because I've been watching it. As soon as it go on to 300, it's going to add to the collection. You heard me say it.
Right.
When you look at this,
just wait for it to drop like it's a stock market.
I'm waiting for it. Yeah, I'm waiting. Now that we got a new one, I'm like, this got to drop.
Hey, listen, Survivor Series come off just like 30% off on all title belts. Come on, Daddy.
There we go.
Right, I needed to go. Because the crazy part about that belt, and I think it's always good to find an error. Like we can always talk about the black and gold, and we're gonna have our thing. But if you say NXT 2.0, because of what Ilyanov did in NXT UK, made this run that much more special.
Facts.
Because of what Carmelo Hayes did, and people seem to forget, he came in off of the breakout tournament, and he cashed in on former AEW World Champion Isaiah Scott, and he had that belt. He lost it, got it right back. Right, every time he was the North American champion. Right, everything that he did when he called his shot for that world title, we're like, okay, this is going to be special because we saw what he did in that other division. But these were all like parallel to what Braun Breaker was doing in that world title. So now you elevated the world title, you elevated contenders at the same time, and still gave Braun Breaker contenders because when he was calling himself him, talking about Mellow Dominus, he wasn't. Remember the whole program with him and Solo grabbed the North American title from him.
Right.
It was like, oh, okay, this was different because he was stealing that contender. But then as soon as he got to that championship, and then guess what? Ilinov said, okay, I want the title. How do you have, they had 3 matches back to back, right?
Was it 3?
Before Ilinov,
It was 3, yeah.
Ilinov finally got it. And it felt like the combination of, yep, he did what he needed to do to get to that title, and he did it on his own. Carmelo lost on his own. You know what? Thank you. We're good. You did the right thing because even when you think about it, that's kind of what they're building now. You had
Yeah.
Wesley
That is true.
doing things in the North American Championship. Granted, when Dominic took it from him, it was like the breath had left the arena. Nobody could believe it
Right.
because Wesley had did everything at that mountaintop for that North American title, right?
Right.
Obafemi, the same way. When Tony D pinned him, everybody was like, but we okay with this because we know what happens. You know what I mean? It was like, if you watch people, they're like, oh, okay, yeah, it's Tony D, you know, because he's been proving himself in the tag division, in the Heritage Cup, going for a world title. He's been doing it, and Oba had been doing the same thing that you expect from a North American champion.
Yeah,
So now that Oba,
Yeah.
it was just like now Wesley is saying, I want that title.
Mhm.
And that's where we get to the new championship, right? This is where we get to the similar to the other one, but before we get into that, right? I'm gonna leave you with that cliffhanger because if you're enjoying this, you know you can go check out more things. You tell them where they can find us at. You enjoying the show so far? Good. Go over to Instagram and follow us at Championship Culture _. And don't forget, check out youtube.com/wrestling. Look for the playlist for Championship Culture. And remember, every belt has a story.
What he said.
Again. So now, just like the women's belt, realness, we get a new men's belt, right?
Yes, indeed.
Almost the same exact thing, right? But 2 major difference, just like in previous iterations.
But
now
you look
it's
at
on
that.
the black strap. It's on the black strap, right? It doesn't have women, but it has the same exact thing. The same rivets on the side, same clamshell tooling around. So clamshell tooling references to around the strap, that edging, that's clamshell tooling around it. And if we had a picture of the strap, you would see now they have 3 lines that have X on it. And I'm trying to find out if it's a significance being the 3rd version or the 3rd brand because
It's because
you
it's
think about
hardcore.
Wow.
because it got it's triple X.
It's hardcore. Yeah, it's 3 of them on there.
Because it's paying homage to the 3 before because it has all the elements of previous belts on there.
It does. It does.
But the good thing is, without a shadow of a doubt, the men and the women are the same. Clean looking title, same ribbons around, and Triple H has a thing about his belts. He's gonna show off the belt without a bunch of stones, without a bunch of floral patterns. Besides the big gold, but the big gold needed that. But the WWE logo is the same on the women's as the men's. It's not one is silver, one is gold. Just enough gold right where it says champion so it'll catch your eye. The gold around it will highlight the NXT. The silver is just clean, just like on the ladies. And who better to usher this era in than a person that's going to be and has been and continues to be all over your social media,
Everywhere.
all over your TV, all over your promotion. This is kind of I really feel this. I'm gonna go on record and say this is probably gonna be the trick belt. You know how we say certain belts belong to certain people. This will
Sure.
probably be known as the Trick Williams belt because it came at the right time, at the height of it. Regardless of his in-ring capability, he's marketable, and he's going to keep giving the people what they want one way or the other. And WWE did the smartest thing when, the first week they debuted it, the second week, giving the man that's over with the crowd to give him the stamp of endorsement. He was in there with Jey Uso. So, this belt, I'm going to say this, and y'all are probably going to hate me when I say this. I
Oh
enjoy
boy,
the
here
women's
comes hot
belt.
take.
Right.
I enjoy the women's belt more than this belt.
Why is
I
that?
just feel like the white has more details, and the way that it's appeared on TV, the white showcases more of the gold and silver. Every time I've seen this on TV, it looks more silver, and you can't really see the gold because I think the black is drawing it away.
I'm okay with
So
that.
you're okay
And
with
you're not
that?
gonna believe why.
Okay, why? Why so?
The new NXT championship, you're absolutely right. It does, when you look at it on TV, it definitely has like a black and silver flair to it.
Mhm.
But to me, it looks a lot more grittier. It has a lot of edge to it. But it also reminds me of, and I wish I had a picture of this, of the Battle Dome championship belt.
Oh
Those who
my
don't
god!
remember the show, it was a show called Battle Dome. They used to come on Saturday
Oh
morning.
my gosh.
Why do
Um,
you
I
remember
used to
that?
love that show, man.
it was like a mix between like American Gladiators and wrestling. Like Terry Crews was on
Mhm.
it, JT Money, and they even invaded WCW at one point
Yeah,
in time. They had an
right,
angle going
Mhm.
on in the late 90s where
right.
WCW guys showed up to Battle Dome. But they would do like like the gladiator type people had like gimmicks, right? But they would do like these physical contests, like it was American Gladiators. It was called Battle Dome, and they had this
Mhm.
big championship belt. It was huge. It was big. It was like black and silver with like small gold accents. And I was like,
I'm trying to
wow.
find it. I can't find it.
I said that belt is an actual beauty. And I remember the day when Rick Steiner, I want to say Kurt Hennig, and a couple other people, they showed up, and they kidnapped the belt, like they stole it, and then
They
they
sure
spit
did.
on it. But
Yeah.
I remember saying like, wow, this thing is big. It was massive. It was huge. It was massive. It was black and silver. And I was like, ooh, look at that belt. So I was always a fan of that. Like that's the belt at some point I'm going to get like recreated and, just have in my space, because I remember as a kid, I was like, yo, that belt looks, it may not be wrestling, but this championship looks really, really, really good. It looks really, really clean. And so when I see black and silver belts, with the exception of the ECW championship, if that wasn't the ECW championship, it might not have hit a wall the way that it did, because they had ECW's name attached to it. It left a sour taste. Like, this is not the land of extreme. But I'm a fan of black and silver championships, and this to me, because it is a black and gold and silver championship, but it has enough silver in it to make it look like it's black and silver. It just has a very gritty edge. And that same grit you were talking about with the 2.0 championship, I feel the same way about this championship in particular. And yeah, I think it hits harder. So like the women's championship looks good. It looks good, right? Cool. But if I'm a champion, I come out there, I'm not there to look good. I'm there to, you know what I mean? I'm there to bust heads and let everybody know I'm the champion. So it's like one looks very regal and prestigious, and the other looks like hard hitting. Like this one means business. So whereas like you think about the World Heavyweight Championship and the Women's World Championship, it already looks prestigious based off the look of the championship in general, right? So of course I put on a white strap because it looks prestigious. You know what I mean? So it's like there's no other way to get it versus the white strap versus the black strap. The black strap adds a certain grit to it that I'm like, yo, I like this a lot. It gives me an edgier feel to it. And that's the thing that I like more about the men's title NXT championship over the women's NXT new version of the NXT championship. So you guys are dying to find that on championship. I'm trying to tell you, it's absolutely beautiful. You guys should do a show on random belts that had there it is. Look at that.
That's the clearest pitch I could find.
That thing was huge though.
Yeah.
Remember, it was just huge. I just remember it just being
it was
a
massive.
big old belt. Because it would cover their whole stomach. It seemed like it was just a big belt.
And it was no like that was the prize if you won Battle Dome. That was it back. And like I said, I have no idea why WCW invaded Battle Dome. And then, like I said, the Battle Dome guy I didn't realize that JT Freeze was Terry Crews at the time, but
right.
Why does he still look the same though?
I was like, during that time, anything wrestling related, we dug our claws into it. So when I was like, oh, Battle Dome, they got a championship belt. So like I didn't really get into the show itself.
You just like the belt
championship.
Man.
That's Saturday I turned into it, and I was like, Kurt Hennig and Rick Steiner, what are they doing? Bray Windham, why they were at the thing spitting on the belt, said it's a stupid show and not real, and
yep.
And wasn't wrestling.
As a kid, I was glued to the screen, like, oh my god, what?
We like,
what is that?
Amazing.
What is going on? They took the belt.
Worlds. Just going crazy.
The belt. And this was back when WCW was like all over the place. So, you weren't watching every week. You were trying to figure out, wait a minute, did I miss something? What's going
Wait,
on?
but did you see what Justin said?
I'm trying to tell you,
Said,
man.
wait, hold. Why is that belt kind of fire?
Bro, it was one of the big
massive.
belts of that era. Like, you talking late 90s, I guess? I don't know if it was 99, 2000-ish. Who knows? But,
I think it was around 2000, wasn't it?
It had to be. Because
it was right at the end of WCW, right?
WCW
I feel like it was one of them.
Yeah.
It was like, why are they here? It wasn't like, oh my God, it's WCW. It was like, why is this happening? Like, who asked for this? Like, who thought this was a good idea? But speaking of good ideas, was it good? And if you're honest, you're going to hate this question. Was it good? Was it a good idea to have Trick win this as his second time?
Why would you ask me?
And not his first time? Because I had this discussion with Hugh earlier. I don't know his thought. But I would have crowned Trick as the champion on CW to truly usher in the era. Do you think it was a good idea to make it his second run and not his first run?
Yes. And let me tell you why.
Okay.
We always talk about this on the wrestling realm when we're talking about those awkward first title runs, right? And Trick Williams is a true developmental star. And what I mean by true developmental star is like he was someone that learned from scratch. He wasn't a previous wrestler. He came from the NFL. He came from being a professional football player, and he spent a long time being a valet. He learned to talk. He learned to work in the ring. And then that first title run, he wouldn't have been there to carry a rebrand. He was just learning what it meant to be a main event star, to stand on his own. You know, that feud with Carmelo Hayes kind of set the tone. But then after that, it's not like we were saying, oh my gosh, Trick Williams is killing in the ring. We will be on the show like, man, Trick Williams' timing is still a little bit off. And he's still trying to figure things out. But that's what it was there to do. So he had the first run. He had his moments. He worked the kinks out. So by the time he got to this run, now he's ready. So now we're going to a rebrand, new station, new network, setting the tone. He's ready to carry the brand into this era. And I think now he's ready because it was almost like not an experimental run, but he got to work out the kinks the first go round. And it was at the bottom end of an era that was ending soon. Now, we didn't realize that or know it is because that we didn't have that information. So when you look at, hey, we're going to put the strap on you, Trick. This is the last part of this era anyway. Learn, take your bumps, your bruises, figure it out, have your matches, grow. So boom, once you get that over and it's done, okay, he loses the title. You know, he has some time to figure some things out, heal up. Hey, we're going to go back to now. It's because now he has a wealth of in-ring experience. I appreciate the hard working. I appreciate the training, but everybody knows that if you're in any field, it's nothing like on-the-job training. When you're playing basketball, football, it's nothing wrong with training in the off season and doing drills, but it's nothing like in-game experience. And I feel like that's what he gained from his first run, so that he was fully prepared to carry a brand going into his second run. So like in all ego, Ethan Page is my guy. When he lost, I wasn't even mad. I was like, you know what? He had a first good run. First of all, he got it really quick. He just got there. You know what I mean? So I was grateful.
No, yeah, I'm sorry, not the second match. The second pay-per-view he was on, right?
Yeah. And I was like,
second pay-per-view.
That's a big deal. Like that means that they're showing you this is where we value your experience. We know you're well traveled, and you bring that to a new brand where people are maybe who'll be unfamiliar with who you are, but we respect what you bring to the table. That's what I saw from that, and that's all that I can care about. The fact that I saw that shows me how they view Ethan Page and where he's going to go from there. So now that, like I said, he had his run, Trick's back at the forefront for obvious reasons. I'm like, okay, I'm not mad about it. Now the chase is going to be that much more vicious because there's a side of all ego Ethan Page that a lot of people have not seen. We know he's smiling and pointing to himself, but he has a mean streak. He has a very vicious side of him that people have yet to see. And even as I
cut off Sexy Red.
You said what?
Yeah,
he cut off Sexy Red.
He definitely did. And she was like, what's wrong with him? And he's like, I'm not here for that. You know, and he showed up on what he was on. Was it SmackDown?
It was on Raw, wasn't it?
He showed up.
It was in St. Louis. Yeah, it was in St. Louis.
Yeah, because he had an issue with Adam Pearce, old Scrap Iron. Yeah. And he was like, look, man, one of your superstars came to my show and disrupted what I had going on. So what are you going to do about this? And he's like, then he literally said, this would have never happened to me if I should have went to SmackDown with Nick Aldis. This wouldn't have happened to me over there. So it's subtleties like that are like, okay, cool. I understand it. So he had his moment. I don't think Ego is going to be in NXT for too long.
Nah.
So for Trick
I say
Williams to
after Rumble, he'll be on a different show.
yeah. So and I'm almost like I said, well, if there's room for him, because like I said, things are kind of hitting on all cylinders, and the mid card is starting to beef up. Tag division is beefing up. Motor City Machine Guns debuting next week, brother Brandon. They signed your NXT championship on the middle of the X.
Yep.
This
Right
week.
there. Yep, it's right
Are you
there.
upset about
This week, the 18th.
It's this
Yeah,
week.
yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
This week.
So yeah. So
And
I for Trick having this title run for the second run rather than the first run, I think it's appropriate.
Interesting.
You
So,
seem
and
like
that's
you don't
crazy to
agree.
think of. Because I'm all about, and I guess I'm still trying to deprogram the Vince McMahon way, right?
There you go.
Because I'm
there you
still
go.
about that moment. But
I'm
here's where I
close.
appreciate what
Just
Triple H has
stuck in the
done.
ways.
But this is what Triple H has done. He's given us these moments more frequently, that we're enjoying them more frequently. And it's still hard to believe that we're getting these moments. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's
Yeah.
what's really, I'm trying to, it was like, oh, like, there's no reason that certain episodes of Monday Night Raw or SmackDown feel like pay-per-views. There is no reason that they
really
feel
are,
like,
though. Yeah.
yeah, and it's like, how is this possible? Like, and I know I said it's teetering the line of more entertainment than wrestling. And Monday
Yeah.
was one of those examples where we had 3 segments back to back. And I'm like, but where's the wrestling? But we had 3 segments slapping, and I still can't get off the fact of, oh, look, realness comes to the ring. All right, realness in the ring. Now cut to the segment with Hugh. And then we're going to come back. Realness still in the ring like this. I'm like, why bring him to the ring? Just play the segment, then let him come to the ring. So that still bothers me. But in the era where it's a lot of right happening, because you see they recycled that WrestleMania footage for that NXT promo with Trick running up the steps. I said they're going to use all that footage.
Yep.
And look what they're doing. And
That's
love
that in-depth storytelling.
Yep. And I love the fact that with all these champions, these new titles, it's a way for it to impact the brand. It impacts people. And now, if you haven't watched NXT and now you're watching it on because it's on more, it's in more people's home now because it's on a broadcast channel. They can see, oh, this has got to be a big deal. Look at that title. Look at that title versus a color splatter where it may not have been taken serious because colors sometimes make you think kid,
Children.
young, child. You know what I mean? Like a red in the title or blue in the title, okay, cool, because done tastefully, it will work, i.e. a swoosh or a globe being painted with blue. You know, those are okay. But when we got multiple colors, like we literally said,
Melted
is this
crayon.
for exactly? This looks like we took an 8-pack of crayons and just said put it on the belt. And if this is the first time I'm tuning in, why would I watch this? But now, if I see somebody and I'm like, oh, she's got to be a big deal. Look at that belt. And the same thing for the North American champion, male or female. You look at me like, oh, they've got to be important. But now seeing the strap, you're like, okay, that's the women's champion. That's the men's champion.
Right.
That's what they're doing. And it's insane when we think about things because we can compare all of these belts to the other ones that we gotten this year. And all of them have been for a certain purpose. If you look at Monday Night Raw, we got the World Heavyweight Championship, and then we got the World Tag Team titles, which are like the cousins of that belt. Because now looking at them individually, they do look like they could be world champions on their own.
If you catch one by itself in the street, you're like, wait a minute. I don't know what
Yeah.
he's champion of, but he's champion of something.
Right. He's something. Yeah, he's important. Same thing for SmackDown. As long as Tonga Lord don't hold it up, it looks like it's a big deal.
Dang it.
Yeah. Yeah, but think about it. When Jacob 5-2 had it, it was like, oh. When DIY had it, it was like, these are some decent belts. Like, they look like they are important. Not taken away from the world titles, but they look like they are important. And just look at the secondary titles. IC belt. Now they got the blue on it. People are harping on this belt being good again. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And LA Knight holding the US title.
Needs some
and
blue.
Nothing. Yeah.
It does.
He needs some blue behind the stars.
Yeah. Everybody wants it. Just do it. And listen, they listen to us about the IC title. I mean,
they added some color.
Come on.
Give us
People like,
LA
Knight be like, you know what? I'm sick of coming out here dealing with you guys. You're so vanilla. So I added some color to the situation. I'm talking about my championship. Yeah. And he's going to pull up the belt. It's going to have blue on it.
Or it's going to be on a blue strap.
I was about to say the blue strap.
God, no.
A
blue strap
the
looks
blue
nice,
strap
bro.
was. Did you see Paul Martin? What Paul Martin did?
You can't
You
do
didn't
the
see
blue
it?
bar. Roman Reigns owns blue strap anything. I don't think you'll ever see
Oh,
anything
okay.
with blue strap again.
That
Good
is true.
point.
That is true. That's
Yeah,
true.
it would get retired with him. That was his belt. Remember, he said, "That's my baby. I made that special."
He really, because I
So,
hated that belt until he had it. I'm like, you know what? Now I think I kind of need that one too.
That belt was
but you know what's
ugly.
great? If it wasn't for Finn Balor and the Fiend, I wouldn't have liked the red strap.
I was okay with
Okay.
it because I'm a red
I
guy, so
was.
I don't.
I love red, but I was like, why would you do this? Because you know what I thought about NWA television title,
Bingo.
TNA
Yeah.
Knockouts Tag Team Champion on a red strap. I was like, why would you do that? Because you know, red automatically took me to that moment, and then I
Sure.
was like, oh, okay, red isn't too bad on the belt. Red and gold looks kind of cool. Stop looking
Mhm.
around for the tag belts. You
That's
jerk.
back.
That's why the tag belts are red.
He took a
It's
gamble.
behind me on this.
Let me take a look.
Yeah, but see, that's why the tag belts were red at first. But realness.
I'm sorry. Are we not going to put up the comment about Prototype saying he became a fan of Ethan Page?
I was
off
I
that
was
moment?
going to ask you if you saw this,
No, I'm just
but
saying. I just
realness, was it a did it? And this is for you too, Justin. Was it a thing, or am I looking too much into it? Because one thing bothered me about the premiere of CW when Ethan Page came out, he came out with the Color Spider belt. Even though Trick won and he left with the new belt, why did he come out with that belt? That really doesn't sit well with me because I feel like it was done for a reason.
Because it wasn't his belt.
I don't know. It's just Go ahead, brother. You have 2 cents on it. I want to hear what you have to say.
That's
you
all
got
I was
it.
gonna say. That's all I was gonna say. He didn't earn that belt yet. I know technically it's the same title, but with the new design, of course, you're going into a new era. So he's not the guy for the new era. You know, so no, seriously. He has to earn that right to be crowned the person for that new era. And he didn't win that match. So
Well, you did.
You
Didn't
don't
they
get to
do
bring
the
it
same
up.
thing with the at WrestleMania with the women's triple threat match when
I believe they
Carla
did.
had the Divas title?
Did
And
she come out with the Diva, or did they just say
She
the
came out with
women?
the Divas title,
She came out with the Divas title.
and then she
When did they reveal
walked
the
out.
women's?
She walked
with
out
the-
with the women's world title.
Okay, I thought that they announced that the woman.
and Becky Lynch, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Triple threat
because
match. That was
Sasha had the
on
Eddie
fire.
Guerrero. What you call it? She had the Eddie Guerrero gear on.
Yeah, yep.
I remember
And
that.
Flair was out there crying. He's crying. He's supposed to be selling and being Ric Flair. He's up there crying, balling his eyes. You guys hear my crying voice? Oh, Ashley, she's better than I could have ever been. Like Ric Flair, dude.
You have made Justin a Ethan fan. So all I'm gonna say is you see his partner got his own stable back again, but that's for another time. The US is cool, but the WWE tag titles need some color for sure. They have red in them. Oh, you talking about the one?
He might
No,
get
I'm
on
sorry.
SmackDown.
He talking about the one on SmackDown. They're black and gray. Yeah, they don't have
black and gold. Yeah.
Yeah, close to the '90s tag team title color scheme. Oh, realness.
Yeah, I here's what I'll say. You ready? Because I knew it was good. He said, "Oh, realness," because he knew. I'm only going to be okay with it if you add blue, gold, red letters. Don't just put blue on that championship. I never liked the SmackDown tag titles from back in the day. I hate them. I hate them just as much as I hate
tag team belts.
I do not like them. I hate them just as much as I hate the oval IC title.
IC
title. The only thing that was worse than that is when they debuted those big pennies.
Oh yeah, gosh.
So,
the ones that
as long as they add blue and red, if not, leave it alone. I don't want to see
these, right?
Yeah,
those were fine.
These had zero color. No, they had zero color.
That's
but the freaking bronze ones on the black straps that the New Day carried for 30 years, I was like, bro, these ain't it. So
they didn't even feel right.
Carlito and his brother was the undisputed tag champs for like forever. Him and Primo.
Heart Foundation got it. Or what are they called? What are they, Heart Foundation or Heart Dynasty?
Heart Dynasty.
Heart Dynasty. They got the new belts. Uncle Brett brought us the new belts.
And then the Usos and Tamina debuted against them. I remember that day like it was yesterday.
Yep.
So,
because Tamina came out with real just mean face.
She did that splash.
But
I love you, Tamina. Come back.
Yes, right. We miss you. And nobody meaner than Tamina.
That is true.
Samoan and Fiji, great combination.
Realness. I think you did it.
Did we do it? I was waiting for it. I was like, wait, is he going to say it? I think we did it.
You're not getting off the hook. because it's one last thing we gotta say.
Let's
What's
do it.
So I think I'm mad because a lot of things I've called this year has come to fruition, right?
Oh, he's upset, brother. You.
I am.
I know
Because
he
I
is.
called it. Let me make sure the brother's clean.
That's
I
a sexy
called
belt.
certain things, right? I
Mhm.
Brother
called certain
Brandon,
things and they've
before
come.
you answer this question, I'm going to hurt your feelings. Let me save you some time now. Okay, I'm just saying. I'm giving you a preference. I'm going to hurt your feelings because I'm going to tell you what's about to happen. Spoiler alert. You're going to ask me what you're going to ask me, and I'm going to break it down purely off facts, and you're going to be like, crap, I have no choice but to accept the reasonable response that the realness has given me about why we did not get new NXT tag team titles. And it's not going to make you feel any better. So I'm just
I'm
giving
gonna
you,
tell
I'm
you why
letting you
I
know
think
now.
we haven't. I'm gonna
Okay.
tell you why I was. So I got wrapped up in the moment of new belts. I felt like a kid in Christmas. Triple H was
Yes,
giving
you
us
did.
everything that we wanted, and it was like, yes, we're getting them. And then when I took my, what off, I said, Brandon, let's really look at this. The North American Championship debuted, and the logo was the same, hasn't changed for 2.0. It still looks very similar to the silver and black. Brandon, what's wrong with this belt? It looks like it belongs in this era.
Bingo.
It actually looks like it more belongs in this era than the era it was actually in. So I
Bingo.
said to myself, stop it. You're not getting one because there's nothing wrong with this because the N never got bigger, the T never got bigger, and now the current logo, if you see
It's
this belt,
exactly
it
the
looks
same.
like it's on par. And guess what? Just like the belt over my shoulder, the NXT tag belts always went down.
Yep.
So why would we get a new belt, right?
Mm-hmm.
The side plates can change out, but guess what? It still has silver on it and a highlight of gold. Says tag team and champions. You know. So even though I was excited and I was wrong, I don't think, and I'm just going to say it now, ladies and gentlemen, I don't think we're going to get new tag belts.
Oh, he sounds so defeated.
He does.
I am. Because, some people on the internet, those internet wrestling people, they're like, oh, we're going to do North American title. And I was like, but why? It's fine. It's great.
You
And
know,
I'm like, and I look at this.
the women's title looks the same. Do you know you're not getting a new one?
Thank you. And the logo on the top of the North American just says NXT, and it doesn't have any kind of like version 1, version 2.0 or anything. It just says NXT. Very clean, very simple. And it's like, yep.
Why were you looking around? You have it?
No, I was going to grab the women's tag belt to show you that it still looks the same.
Okay.
What do you think I have? Which one do you think?
Don't worry about it. Just go ahead.
You're a belt guy. You never know.
Right.
So realness, what did you think my question was going to be?
I thought you were going to ask me, why didn't we get new NXT tag team champions or championships?
No. What I was going to ask you is, do we get any more new belts this year?
From NXT?
No, just
in general.
Do we get any new belts this year?
Let me see.
Because we still got time.
I don't think so. There's no reason to do any new belts. I think everything has been pretty much updated. I was trying to make you feel better about the fact you're not getting new NXT tag team championships. It looks as almost if they might have redesigned the new championship to match that one. Like let's go something around this type of tone.
Makes sense, yeah.
Very simple to the point.
It
looks good on TV. It
gets
translates good. When you have it on TV, it translates very well.
Now,
it does.
As far as new championship belts, as far as upgrades, maybe not. But I don't know what they have in line for smaller things down the line. For example, no one thought we were going to get an NXT Speed, a freaking Twitter show, and as a champion for the concept of WWE Speed
for men and women.
Men and women, yeah. So it's like stuff like that. It's possible, maybe one day, but I don't think anything as of right now. As far as upgrades are concerned, I don't think we get any extra upgrades. Like we gotta, with the exception of maybe adding some blue to United States Championship. And
I'm gonna grab it so you can see.
Go ahead. So
because I'm trying to see which blue you're talking about.
Right on the flag, right at the top.
There you go. That's when I saw Brian H's championship. I was not. That's the WWE version, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Here's my problem with cameras because that belt doesn't look all that big as you hold it, but that thing is massive.
It's huge.
But I say the same.
It's got a weird angle to it.
I know it's heavy. The only thing that's holding me back from loving that championship is one, there's no blue where the stars are. There's got to be a blue flag part right there. That has got to be the 2.0 version of it.
Yeah.
Maybe small white stripes. Who knows? Red and white stripes. But I think
they got them down here.
Yeah, so like the section where it's silver behind champion, would you make that white to separate the two? Because you can't put so we looking at the same thing. So put white.
Yeah, I would make it and put blue on behind the stars.
Put blue behind the stars. And I think at that point I'm like, okay, I love the United States. I never loved that belt.
Color on this?
No, because the side plates are changed, right?
No, I'm talking about in like right here.
Yeah, probably. You can do like you did the last one. Because you remember when they did the first version, the second version had the blue in the side plates.
No, I'm talking about the United States title, how the side because it's a
right. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm referring to.
Okay, how do you say it?
The first version wasn't like that, or maybe it was.
No, this. Yeah,
was it always that
didn't
way?
have.
I thought it was.
I don't know why, but I was under the impression that
I feel like it was a gold or something. It didn't. I don't think you might be right because this is a.
But you got the scratch logo, the scratch logo championship right there. So I don't know.
I wasn't really a fan of that one.
I wasn't at first, brother Hugh, but it grew on me when I saw how big
it grew on me.
I was like, okay, I'm okay with this. Now once again, see, brother got cheats. He gets both versions because I'm like, okay, cool. If I had to make a choice, which one would I get? Would I get network logo or would I get scratch logo? Now, Brian H will tell you he'll always go for network logo because it's cleaner. But for me, everybody has their own belt collecting story, right? See how I did that on the show?
Yeah, I see it.
Like everybody has their reason. So like I would have to get whatever title that represents the era in which I want it. So like if we talk about the white IC championship title, I say, okay, if I were to get that one, should I get the network logo or should I get the scratch logo? And part of me is always leaning towards the scratch logos because that's when I feel like it debuted, it kind of had its run and whatever the case may be. But then there's also the situation with the Miz. So I get championships to represent moments.
Right.
So I don't know. But see, Brother Brandon cheated. He got both versions of those United States champion. He got network logo, he's got scratch logo. Now,
but do you know why?
This was what I was about to ask you. I'm sure you told me we had thousands of conversations about belts. But since we're on the show, let's open it up to the public so they know, why did you end up getting both besides because the only subtle differences, now correct me if I'm wrong, because you have the championship, I don't, is the network logo itself, right? Because I thought the biggest difference might have been the side plates, but it seems like they're pretty much the same.
The center plate on the scratch logo where the nameplate goes is a little bit wider. The one with the scratch logo, actually, I'll show you. Because you'll see it once I hold them next to each other. There's a small difference in them. I don't know if you see.
Yeah, I see it.
This one, the scratch logo is longer. This is actually wider.
Yeah. Is the scratch logo plate wider than the network logo?
No, this one is wider. Now that you're looking at it, yes.
Yeah, it is wider.
So it's crazy because these are both made by. No, I'm sorry. One is made by Figures Inc. and the other one is WWE.
Okay,
so this was made by WWE, and this was when Figures Inc. was still. I'm sorry, not Figures Inc. I think it's Jack Specifics. Wait a minute, give me 1 second.
No, it was right. It's Figures Toys Inc. Figures Toy Company. Figures Inc.
So, and once they changed over, they had slight changes.
Well, you know what happened with that, right? Little belt story for everybody that doesn't know it.
Oh, and the tips. This one has a tip.
Which the scratch logo?
Yeah, the scratch logo has a tip. This one does not.
Really? See, that's now I'm conflicted.
I knew I liked that better.
Well, of course, the tooling on the side.
That's why I just waited.
The tooling, and then I know you're going to tell the story behind it. I'm going to tell you this story real quick. Even the paint on this is glossy, and this is more matte. This is matte, and this is glossy.
See, I'm conflicted now because I like the. Oh, okay. See, I'm gearing, and that's small. Look at that, the Statue of Liberty thing.
Yeah.
See, when Figures Inc. was, obviously the belt manufacturer for all the stuff, but then what happened was they were kind of like a middleman. They created the belts, but WWE found the actual manufacturers and said, well, we don't need you anymore, Figures Inc. We're going straight to the. That's why they create belts for everybody. Big 12, MLB, NHL.
That makes sense.
I'm sure they're probably trying to fight to get the NBA.
Oh.
They got,
That's the other thing. It didn't have a property plate.
Don't they already
This
have
one-
NBA?
No, the scratch logo. That was the other thing. The scratch logo had a property plate. I knew it was another reason.
how do you feel about Carmelo Hayes making a comment about if he wins the United States Championship for LA Knight, he was going to change it, but he was going to bring back the spinner championship.
Oh gosh.
That would be funny.
He
So
obviously
everybody has
lost.
a story.
Thank God.
And you know the reason I have both of these, well, the
Why is that?
one, the scratch logo, I brought from a guy that his girlfriend was making him sell off his belts. So I
Dang, he
got
must
that
have got in
one,
trouble.
and
Didn't pay
the
his card note.
ECW,
Right.
the Brian Waters version. I got it for a really good deal. Like I think it was like 150 for both of them.
Oh
She
my
was making
goodness.
him get rid of his belt. So I went to the Shoppers parking lot out there in Park Heights, met the guy, and got both of them. And said,
You
"Thank
see,
for
brother,
the
you
deal."
face. I was about to say, wait a minute.
Or what?
You buying belts in Park Heights? What's going on?
Listen, I said you can meet me at Shoppers because I knew it was a well lit parking lot. So, but you know the Shoppers that's in the back, like all the way up, before you get to Owens Mills, that one that's in the cut.
Oh,
And
okay.
then this WWE shop for some reason had them priced for $125, just a random day, and I was like, "What?" But it was listed, of course, as 2mm, so it was $125. So I clicked on submit, and there you have it.
Okay. So, in
Yeah,
other
but
words,
this
you
one is
bought it
signed
because
by
of
Zach
the
Ray.
price. See, Trick
Yes.
Williams is holding up the belt on stage. I just saw it.
Oh, is he?
And Ethan Page just hit him in the face with a light bulb. It's okay.
He hit him in the face with a light bulb.
Yeah, like he
Oh
took one of
my
the
gosh.
lights from off the thing and just hit him over the head with it. And now he's holding up the
Oh.
championship. That thing looks like a beauty. Okay, here we go.
Oh, does it?
$5,000 question. Brother Brandon and Brother Hugh, you next.
Yes, sir.
So you get to think. I'm cutting you a break, Brother Hugh, because you know you're a producer guy. But you, the guy, hot seat time. Rank the NXT World Championships. Your favorites
Okay,
from
that's
from
easy.
top to bottom. From least favorite to favorite.
Favorite
Men's.
favorite men's. This is the favorite.
Now what era what do you call that belt? The what era? For you.
Because this is still part of the black and gold.
I was about to say, yeah.
To me, that's the height of the height of NXT popular. But I don't. What would you call it though? Like, what do you call that era? Because everybody has, you know what I mean. Like that belt
indie
saw a lot
darling.
of the who
The indie
Okay,
indie
there we
darling era.
the
Yeah.
indie superstar era.
Yeah, the indie superstar era. So this is my favorite
Got it.
one. Next would be the current.
Okay, current one. That's number 2
Number 3, of course, would be the original with the big X.
that you don't like.
Go
ahead and say
it
it.
grew on
No,
me. No, it grew on
okay.
me.
Fair enough.
It grew
When
on
did
me
it grow on
after.
you and why? That's right. The
So-
show goes on, ladies and gentlemen. If you thought the
feels like
champion
it.
culture was wrapping up, we going home. Y'all was gonna have another hour show. You lied to yourself.
So one thing
Realness
about
is on, and I'm
championships,
long-winded.
the less you see them, the more I feel like it becomes a need for them, right? So
Yeah. You did say
I
that.
missed out on an opportunity with buying it when I went to an NXT show, and ever
Mhm.
since then I was like, I was on a hunt to get it because I was like, now I have to have it. But the more I look at it, the more I appreciate the uniqueness of that belt because it was a different style, different. They just, I don't want to say it was a lazy creative because that's what I felt like at the time when it debuted. I was like, that's what we're doing. But then we had lazy creative belts happening all the time.
It had a
i.e.
big strap to it though. That's why I liked it.
Yeah, I was about to say the big
Yeah.
wide. Yeah.
But
Shawn Michaels
it
debuted.
yeah, definitely, it definitely was weird. And
Which-
then of course,
Look, you hear what he said? It's weird. Like you just said, I don't like it, but it definitely was weird. What's
It's
weird
weird.
about it? What do you mean?
it was a wide strap. Think
That's true.
about it.
Okay.
We
Fair
weren't
enough.
used to belts having that wide.
That's true. I keep forgetting the
Yeah.
era.
Yeah, it was different. And
Now,
then,
which one?
Of course,
Network
the
or scratch
least-
logo? Now, you ain't getting off the hook.
network, because network looked cleaner with the side plates. They just look cleaner. The scratch
Yeah,
logo
probably.
sometimes made it look like it was blurry because you know how the light would hit it if they didn't clean it, and they really didn't clean that belt set off when they was bringing them to the ring. But I'm just saying,
One more question before you move on. What superstar made you say, you know what? Okay, I think I'm okay with this belt. Like I give you an example. I was not a fan of the Oval Championship until the Jericho RVD era. I don't know, you know what I mean? But around that time, I was like, Okay, Randy Orton and Shelton Benjamin and Carlito. I was like, that belt looks much bigger than it used to be for some reason, and I was like, okay,
What, the Intercontinental?
yes,
Yeah.
because I wasn't a fan. Even the replica, the one you gave Brian H, I said this is a lot bigger than I thought it was, and I was like, oh, this is actually pretty cool. Because my issue was when it first debuted how little it was, but as it developed and some people had it, I was like, okay, I'm okay with it now. Like I love that championship. I love that version of it. Not the first one, the purple block logo. That was stupid, but. So, certain people in eras and moments made me go, okay, I'm okay with this now. So what was that moment for you for the original NXT Big X Championship that you're just not a fan of? Like it's number 3 on your list. So you got the first one was the Indie Superstar era, the current version number 2, and you ranked that one as the 3rd era. That you have that belt, don't you? You never showed on screen the original NXT Championship belt.
Yeah, I do. I can grab it. It's over there.
No, it's not okay. It's tucked away in the dark.
That's not the one in the case.
It is. It's in a case.
Oh no, you leave it there. That's okay. I forgot. It is in the case. That's okay. Leave it in the case. If people want, I should upload it because I have a picture of his belt room. When we took a tour of the guy's belt room, I took videos and I took pictures.
He did.
I really should. I'm not going to do it
because
because
that's outdated now.
I don't have permission.
It's outdated.
Oh, I'm sure it is. But it's going to be a Throwback Thursday. Like this is what it used to look like. I can't speak for it now, but go ahead. So who made you? What made that belt grow on you? What was it? What was the moment for you?
So it actually was a moment happened before that really made me like it.
Come on,
remember when Shinsuke debuted against Sami Zayn, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then Sami moved on to get the title. It was such a feel good moment, and because of everything, and him and Neville, that match, it pulled. It pulled on everything.
Shinsuke and Neville or Neville and Sami?
No, I'm saying Neville and Sami. Remember, Shinsuke and Sami was like, this match. It was like, and then I was like, all right, watch. Yeah, and then when I feel like if it wasn't for those two, I wouldn't have appreciated either one because it was Sami at like the peak of look what I can do. And I hate to say that because that was the start of me really paying attention because then Finn Balor came along, Samoa Joe came along, and this was like a different. It felt like a different Samoa Joe than what we were used to in TNA. You get what I'm saying? Because I'm like, what the heck? And even with Shinsuke getting into the title match, and some of my favorite stuff is when Shinsuke and Bobby Roode their promos because Shinsuke said 3 words and was getting over. Because remember that's what he was talking about, knee to face. And
you couldn't speak that much English.
Yeah, but it was perfect. So it was definitely the moment that did it for me is when Sami won the belt because it was like it felt like all the champions before were by you're here, my person got called up. I gotta give you the belt. Oh, this person got called up. I gotta give you the belt. Person got called. Sami felt like the first true champion that we were behind.
I agree with you 1,000%. It's because because it was like Seth Rollins and NXT wasn't even on TV. It was Hulu. And before you know it, he was in the Shield, and then it went to
Big E Langston.
Big E Langston. He was doing a King Kong Bundy gimmick.
Man, I need 5.
Give me the 5 count. King Kong Bundy. And then he was up and he was the heater for Dolph Ziggler and AJ. He wasn't there that long. And then it went to
you gotta believe.
It went to Bo Dallas.
You gotta believe.
I was not a fan of Bo Dallas being NXT champion, but then it went to Neville because they tore the house down.
Yeah.
And then it went from Neville to was it Sami?
Mm-hmm.
And that was when it was like he was one of our guys. Like, oh snap, we got a Ring of Honor guy. First Ring of Honor guy that was champion. So yeah, I was like, okay, I'm with you 1,000% because that's when NXT to me was like, okay, it's about to be NXT. It's because it's kind of timely. As unfortunate, Sami didn't have the championship for long because a man by the name of Kevin Maurice Jeffrey Owens. I don't know if that's his real name. Kevin Owens showed up, and the rest is history. But okay, fair enough. I just wanted to see what you really felt about that because we're talking about NXT, and you can't leave out the history and the rankings of the championship. And I want the world to know on paper, on video, the facts of where the belt guy lives. So let's get back to the topic at hand. So you got number 1, the independent superstar era. Number 2, the current version. Number 3, the original NXT network logo version. made famous to you by Shinsuke Nakamura, Sami Zayn. That's 4. Where are we at number 5?
Of course, it would be the color splatter.
The Crayola era. Okay, fair enough.
Well,
Albert,
not because of the era, but because of the belt.
the look of
I
it.
feel like they took my favorite and just said, "It's nothing wrong with making this silver," because as we see, it was a warranted change. It makes more sense. It does pop, but I just couldn't. The color scheme and then the N and the T. I was like, we stretched out the N and the T and put color on it. Okay,
He said we stretched out the end of the T. What is going on?
because it was. Remember, it was just like,
Oh yeah, it was like,
stretch that out,
like this.
because
This
because
is
that was the
This is
logo.
a
I was
physical
like,
demonstration of how they looked. It just went that way.
and it was like, if you go and change it, I wish they would have just changed
Changed the whole thing
or
altogether.
upgrade it. Yeah, because it's like, all right, I'm gonna know I sound like a hypocrite because the Intercontinental title now has blue on the side, which I should have said, why not just change the whole belt? But there's nothing wrong with that belt. They just listen to fans.
Mhm.
And I'm saying when it came to color splatter, who asked for this? Who thought this was a good idea to just take a good looking belt like that and then say, just put some color on it?
One of
That'd be
Vince's
okay.
grandchildren. Pop, can you put some color in the belt?
Hey, man.
I love it. I love it. Let's do it, Bruce.
So while we're talking about ranking,
Tell
Are-
Paul
are
we're
you-
coming down.
oh god,
What do you mean, Vince? What do you mean we're going down to Florida? We're going to Florida.
no, you know what he did? He said, take the metal out of the belt. Triple H is always talking about the metal. Take metal out of it.
You know what he
Put
needs?
some color in it.
Needs some color.
It needs
Wait,
color.
let me get this straight, Vince. You're taking the color. You're taking the metal out, adding the color. Yeah.
It needs some life, some energy.
That's exactly what happened. You kidding me? And I dare somebody to prove me otherwise. I know for a fact that's exactly what the heck happened. Need some life, some energy, some color.
Get us new belts. We need
gosh.
some brighter.
Look,
Realness, you rank them.
we kept them longer.
You
It's
rank
my
them.
fault.
No, you're
I
fine.
apologize.
Rank 'em. I want you to rank yours. for
Okay.
the NXT.
It's pretty much the same. It's just
Is
about
it?
it's pretty much the same. Like that the indie superstar era is just monumental. Like I said,
Mhm.
those are our guys. And I'd be remiss, and I know we're gonna have a moment of silence for Joe Koff, who recently passed away, the chief operating officer for Ring of Honor during the Sinclair broadcasting era. You know, we used to jokingly call him Sinclair from Sinclair Broadcasting. He just recently passed
Right.
away
I thought he
after
was
a long
Silver
battle
Star.
with cancer.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And we'll take a moment of silence for him tomorrow on the Wrestling Realm Now podcast. But you know, majority of what NXT was came from that era of wrestling where the Indies was competing at one point, maybe not financially, but as far as the hearts of the fans, I mean, and Triple H had enough foresight to say, we got to bring all these guys back in, even if Vince doesn't take them on the main roster. Let me keep them in this space and try to create a similar atmosphere than what they're already doing out there, and then give them a chance to really, really become what we know they can become and be a part of the WWE family. So Triple H, what's his name? Dusty Rhodes, William Regal, what's the Red Rooster's name? He's
Terry
been
Taylor?
Terry Taylor, for goodness sake. Sheesh, yes. Like people who have been
You said the
like,
Red Rooster.
instrumental in just developing just talent and superstars. To have that all that under one roof. And it was like, it wasn't just one moment, it was like an evolution of moments. And once it caught wind, everybody was coming through that era. And it'll always hold a top spot. Now,
It was
as
a
far
cool
as the
place to
championship
be.
is concerned, I've always wanted the inverses because they made that mistake on the action figures. When they released the NXT belt with some of the action figures, the belt was all gold and the NXT X and the NXT was silver.
Ooh.
So like, you know how you have the men's title has the silver backing in the center plate with the gold. I said, look, just make that all gold and just give me the silver X or the silver NXT in the front. And I would have been okay with that. But, to each his own. Like I said, obviously the new one is just amazing. I love it. I love the look of it all. So that's just ranked at number 2. Number 3 is that original one, because when Kevin Owens showed up to the main roster with the NXT championship and he stepped on the United States championship and he went toe to toe with John Cena and beat him.
Yeah.
To me, that like represented the era of Vince going, okay, maybe what they're doing down there can translate to what we have going on up here. Kevin Owens was one of the first guys that Vince really bought into from Triple H. You know, Sammy got the call first, but then he tore his labrum even his first day up there, so he was out for almost a whole year. Remember that first match with the United States Challenge, and Sami Zayn showed up, but he got injured before the match even started. But then Kevin Owens
was the first one to stay himself on the translation over to the main roster,
and it was the first time they acknowledged developmental. That like he showed up with the NXT championship. They never acknowledged any previous championships before they got to the main roster.
Right.
It was almost like a fresh start. But when
Right.
Kevin Owens did it, was the first time they acknowledged this guy is the NXT champion, and he's here on Raw, and he's here, Raw, SmackDown, whatever it was, and he is looking for a fight with John Cena. And to me, he was the first crossover star for NXT, in my opinion. So that will always, of course, Shinsuke and Sammy and just everybody attached to it. There's so many memories to it. And then of course, the Crayola era, the 2.0 era, it's simply because of what came from it. Like I said, the fact that Dolph Ziggler held it, I'm like, crap, now I need to get it. And then you look at Braun Breaker, Ilya Dragunov. Like I knew Dragunov, but I didn't pay him any mind because I didn't watch NXT UK regularly.
Right.
So I watched that man slay that man slayed that monster named Walter at that last NXT takeover. I said, oh my gosh, this dude is vicious. But I had a newfound respect and I became a huge fan. I'm bummed that he hurt himself. He's gonna be out for about a year or whatever it is. But so yeah, that's my record. That's why it's the same. Maybe different reasons, but same wavelength. Belt bring.
Belt bring. And now I got one last question for both of you.
What's that?
And Hugh's gonna hate this because everybody has a story. But out of all the championships that we have in just NXT alone, give me your top 5. And it can be based upon design, it can be based upon era. Just if I could say right now, Realness, Brother Hugh, here's 5 belts, but they gotta be your top 5. What would they be?
In all of NXT, period?
Yeah, all of NXT in no particular order. It doesn't have to be your first one is your favorite of all. Just top 5. Well, your 5 favorite ones.
Ooh,
I'm going purely off of design. I'm gonna go first. Let's go. The very first women's title. You know,
Okay.
I like pink. I like the design and whatnot. Yeah.
man, I swear.
Gosh. Well, of course, the 2 new ones. Does that count as one?
You gonna count it as one?
Is that? Does
No,
that
you're
count as
cheating.
one?
You gotta pick male or female.
Well, it's going to be female because of the white strap. It just
Okay.
makes things pop a little bit more. Actually, it might be all women's titles.
I was gonna say if you say all women, you gonna say the North American Women's Championship.
No, I wasn't going to say that. I was going to say the Well, you know what?
He was going to.
No. Let's do version 2 of the women's with the Silver X.
Okay.
I like that one. That's 3. I'm gonna go with the men's tag.
Which version?
The second version.
Okay.
And let's do the North American. Even though it has that wide strap. That's the only
What
thing.
are you guys getting against wide straps though? Like,
Well,
I'm not feeling the vibe.
For me, I'm a small dude. So
Okay,
if I was to get that belt, that belt is about that wide.
He laughed.
It's you saw me try it on before. Like I was like, what the heck is this? Like,
I got
I'm a
you.
small guy. So
it looked like a corset on him.
Right. So that's, to be honest, that's why I don't really like version 1 of the NXT men's title, because of that wide strap.
Okay.
You know, it just doesn't work for me.
And the crazy part is I like it for the opposite reasons that you said you don't like it. Like literally because I'm a bigger dude and it has a bigger strap to it. I like to carry belts. And like I'm like the NWA World's Heavyweight Championship, the Dome Globe. I love it because it was another one that it was a different shape, but the strap was always wide. So
right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah.
See, that's what. Now I didn't like the first version because it was it was different. But as soon as I saw the North American title, I was like, man, this is awesome. But Realness, you ready? Year 5.
Yep. Okay, so definitely got to go with the Indie Darling Championship as the, I don't know what you call it era, but the era of the Indie Superstar. That championship, the NXT. This is no particular order. The original NXT championship network logo. It's got a cleaner look than the scratch. The NXT North American Championship is because that had a modern look to it, but it had such a callback to like classic championships like the old United States Championship or old North American Championships of the 70s and 80s, and some in the early 60s, as far as the big brown straps and those big. He's had big brown straps, a big like burgundy maroon looking straps. The NXT Women's Championship, not the original, but the second version with the silver X. How many is that? 4?
That's 4.
And then, of course, the current NXT title now, the current men's title. Just because it's just if it's they're all beauties, but if I had to choose, like, hey, look, hey, realness, we're going to give you a stipend to go to WWEshop.com and buy some belts. Okay, this is what I'm spending my money on. So yeah.
Does UK count?
I said all NXT. I was waiting for y'all.
I forgot about UK.
Shoot,
I'm gonna give you my 5. Y'all ready for my 5?
Yeah.
Hold on, real quick. Before you give your 5, brother Brandon, brother Hugh, if you had to take one off and replace it with the NXT UK title, which one would it be?
First of all, it's going to be the NXT version of the UK title.
Really?
Yeah.
Why? Can I ask you why?
It hits me better. I don't. Yeah, it just hits better. It just makes more sense to me. I'm trying to visualize it.
What about it makes more sense to you? Because I'm gonna tell you why I like the opposite.
With the NXT, right? You're grabbing it. He's grabbing.
No, I'm about to do something while you're talking.
Oh no, I was going
because this is why it hits different. Because as you can see there, see how it just displays perfectly.
It just.
I'm real close to the bed. See how it just displays. It just looks nice.
When it was
in line with those.
When it was the UK Championship, it didn't seem like it was confined to NXT. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like it was like, this is the WWE United Kingdom Championship. You know what I mean? Like it reminded me of the European title. But then when it became like the NXT, I was like, all right, okay, now you kind of, I don't want to say you made it smaller, but to me it wasn't as broad. That's just my take on it.
I was going to say that like the WWE on the main plate makes more sense, just for that reasoning, you know. But I like it. It's just a better look with that NXT on the main plate, and then you put the WWE on the side.
But it's gold. I think because it was gold too.
Okay.
Because the silver took away from it on the WWE
it
version.
Definitely does when I look
it
at
felt
it.
Like it was out. It was out of whack. But then when you see that, even though they was like, oh, Walter got a new belt, and it was like they just put the NXT logo on the front of it. I was like, it kind of should have been there in the first place, because on that one it didn't say NXT, but I think on the side plates of the original one. No, I'm trying to remember. Did the original side plates? I'm going to look because I switched them. I can't remember.
You did switch them, yeah. Am I the only one that's not a fan of that shape of the main plate?
Yes.
You know why I was a fan of it? Because it took the cookie cutter and made it unique to that brand. Because all of the belts were looking the same. Because they realized, I guess, for NXT, they gave us this to keep the Triple H era. But then Triple H was like, oh, how do I make this seem like a big deal and on par with what we're trying to do? Because remember,
that makes sense.
NXT UK was... Yeah, but NXT UK was getting the wrestlers and giving them exclusive contracts for WWE, which was kind of killing the indie scene inadvertently over there. So, what better way to make it look like a bigger deal when it has the silhouette of the WWE Championship, Universal Championship, SmackDown and Raw Women's Championship. Same silhouette, just with the UK stamp on it. And I don't know if is that part of the flag or is that just part of their coat of arms? With the,
if I was a betting man, I would definitely say I think it's a part of their coat of arms, because I don't know if United Kingdom has like the United flag.
Oh, that's what I meant, the coat of arms, not the because the United Kingdom, we know what that looks like. That's red, white, and blue. But it's probably part of their coat of arms. Like if you see it, like it's almost like if somebody put the Maryland flag, like how we have it on our Wrestling Realm belts. That's what it gives that same feel to it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna give y'all my 5, and y'all gonna laugh at this. Because realness,
like you put the Maryland flag on the MCW tag titles.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
Your favorite. Fire. Did you ever get that belt? Did you get that belt?
No. One of you guys.
Oh.
You didn't get it?
I got the. See, here's what the shenanigans. Because brother Brandon, when I picked up this beautiful championship, I said, okay, cool. They're probably gonna have the NCW tag title too. And then when I got it, it was the Impact Grand Slam Championship. And I was like, all right, well, I don't turn belts down because all belts need a home. Just like everybody in the story, all belts need a home. But I was like, all right, okay. I just, we'll see what happens.
I had nothing to do with that one.
Lies.
No, I really don't have it. Oh, I do have it. Oh shoot, I do have it. It's sitting on the floor. I thought I gave it to you.
He said it's on the floor. He said, I don't have it. Oh, shoot.
It's
I do
in
have
the
it on the
stack.
floor.
It's right there. It's in this.
It's all right. Go ahead.
It's in the stack. So definitely NXT.
You have a stack of bus and need homes?
Right.
I'm out of room. This time, you're not going to beat me into this conversation.
I tried.
Because
Yes,
you don't
yes,
answer the
yes,
phone.
he does. Yes, he does.
Who answers the phone? Who answers?
Immediately.
He'll be like, yeah. Are you outside? I'm on it. Mom. Just give it to my mom and she'll bring it to me.
Right.
Listen, my mother's at the house. Take it around there. I'll be there in 20 minutes.
You don't pick it up. Look,
Right.
You don't pick it up.
Right.
I said, tell her to leave something on the porch. One day I was making a shirt for her. She was like, she don't want to leave it on the porch. Okay, I'll go get it from her.
Right.
I was like,
My
I will
mom-
physically go get it from her.
My mom be like, oh, that guy daggone Brandon. He got something else for you, don't he? I said, yep.
And look, and now we didn't involve her. How is it gonna look, Mama? Is it gonna look all right? No, put it on this color. All right, that's what she said.
Right. Right.
So
You can never go
NXT
wrong with consulting Mama. Last time I saw Mama Hugh was we was going to New York and I had a flat tire in front of the crib at like 3:00 in the morning.
I forgot about that. Oh man.
yeah, I was going to New York.
Yeah, we were going to Black Wrestle Fest and we got back. We were on it, like came back like dumb late. Like, first of all, we were I don't know who told us to go there and then hang out afterwards. We really didn't want to leave. The vibe was fire. And I was like, we're not leaving now. And then we ended up leaving like, I don't know, it might have been with 12:30, maybe 1 a.m, something like that.
Yeah.
But we took that drive back and I was a bad front seat passenger because I fell asleep like twice with my contacts in. I had 2 Red Bulls, nothing worked. Brian Nate trucked it back and I was like, yeah, bro. And I wake up, fall asleep and be like, I know, right? Cause something else. And I'm like, he's like, bro, you keep falling asleep, bro. I'm like, dang, my fault, yo. But we got back dumb late and we got back to Brother Hugh's mama's house. And I was like, and the tire was flat. I was like, oh shoot. So we had to get the little tire thing and blow my tires so I can go in the crib. It's like 3:00 in the morning. So
I forgot all about that. But yeah.
That's the last time I saw your mama. She's like, y'all good? I said, no, Mama Hugh, I got a flat.
Oh.
Good
This
times.
is why you put the championship culture guys together. And he is a bad front seat
I'm
driver.
terrible. The
He
Red
is the
Bulls do
worst.
not work. They
He
do
don't even
not,
have
nothing
opposite.
works.
Bro, not
Quiet
on a
sleeper.
late man. If it's too late, you're in trouble. Like I
But
tried it.
he a
Like
quiet sleeper. You'll be talking and then you look over, he like this.
bro,
I'm
he
like,
was
oh,
gone in the back.
And
I knew he was gonna be
answer
sweet.
he'll answer a whole question like, yeah, that was good.
Yep.
When you
Oh,
had the
he
whole
was
back
asleep.
to yourself, like we had a lot of equipment. So brother, he was leaning on equipment. He was gone. He didn't
That
waste
was
no
out,
time.
bro. Yes.
But he's
Yes.
I was
quiet.
trying, bro. I was dozing off and waking up and talking. He's just like, damn, my bad, bro. I tried
But
to
if
get. I
he
got
eats,
two.
but if he
I
eats,
got
he's
two.
good.
I got
Yeah.
I got 2 watermelon Red Bulls. I felt racist for getting it. I said I shouldn't even get the watermelon flavor. This doesn't seem right for a black person to
Like,
get
this don't
watermelon
seem
flavor.
right. Like, I
Nothing,
feel like I'm fitting to the culture.
bro.
The
Nothing.
social.
I was
That's why.
tired.
That's why I always get
Did
the
you-
tropical.
Wait a minute. He got a better. It's called the Undisputed Era. I like that, Justin. That's what we're gonna call it. The Undisputed Era.
Mm.
That's right.
Okay.
I
No,
like
you can't call it the undisputed era.
Because it wasn't.
You can't.
It was
Because
undisputed.
the Tommaso, the Goldie era was Tommaso Ciampa. Then you had the Finn Balor Demon era. I mean, the second coming.
That was the end of the
The Prince David. Prince.
the Prince Dev-
The
Balor
return of
with
the Prince.
X, with the X's.
Man.
And
Oh,
then
boy.
he goes back to the main roster, and Vince goes, "I love your heel work, Ante. You did an amazing job. Now we're gonna make you a face snatcher back here." Oh, yeah,
Exactly.
sure, Vince.
Exactly.
Sure, Vince.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, go ahead, other guy. Top
All
5.
right, I'm gonna give you my top 5. NXT.
I'm just watching the clock, by
UK.
the way. I'm trying to get it to at least 250. I don't think I'm gonna make it, but
NXT UK Men's Championship.
which version?
NXT. I ain't
Okay,
say
I'm sorry, you did
WWE.
say that.
Yeah, NXT, because the NXT on the front made a big difference. And shout out to Brian H. Waters for getting that one. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna have to get that now because he had the NXT on the front. NXT Tag Team Championship.
Which one?
I'm sorry,
the-
NXT UK
Oh,
Tag Team
UK.
Champion.
You love
The
them
UK one.
championships.
They do.
There it is. I knew it. I knew it was close by
How
because we
do
tried
you
to be on
not?
the show.
How do you not like this?
I'm not a fan.
It looks like
Really?
It
Too much
reminds me
blue.
of the AEW.
It looks
Kinda.
like. What does it look like to me?
First glance.
No.
There's a lot of blue though.
I think it's the blue that's throwing me off. I think
Yeah.
if that was all gold, I wouldn't trip out about it. And I don't need the red stones. Sorry, Brandon. I know that's kind of your thing.
The big one
Sorry,
right
he
on
looks so
top.
deflated. The red stones everywhere.
That's 2. The
Mhm.
North American Championship, of
That's
course.
3.
Mm-hmm.
That's 3.
Underrated.
Very
The
underrated.
the this belt,
This belt.
Yeah.
since we have a dispute over the name.
That thing's a beauty. I need that. Yep.
This, and then the last one, realness, you disappoint me. The NXT Cruiserweight Championship.
Oh, dang.
I knew I was missing one. Oh, I love that championship on the dark purple as much as I thought it was black.
Yeah, I was like, and I'll never forget. I said, "Realness, that's purple." He was like, "No, it's a little black stripe." I said, "It's
Bro,
dark purple."
The action figure is black. Like,
Is it really?
The belt is black. I swear to goodness, when it first came out, I thought it was purple, but then I didn't. Every time I saw it on TV, it looked so dark, and I just thought it was
Probably because the body old and that stuff was get to
wear
it.
and tear. Look at he's yawning. He's not going to make it, brother Hugh.
He's not.
We're gonna make it.
The Santos Escobar Championship. Him and JD McDonough, Jordan Devlin.
Yeah,
Jordan
right.
I'm going to be watching
Jordan
old NXT stuff for the rest of the evening. So,
I was about to say,
get
yeah,
out
I'm
there.
definitely about to go on a binge.
because remember
Already
he
queued up on
took
my
his
TV.
mask off when he won the NXT title.
Yep,
and he
that's
was
when
like,
he dropped La Sombra.
I was
No,
like,
what was his name before he was that was Andrade.
Delgado
He was,
del Fantasma. He was Delgado
there he
del
is.
Fantasma,
Yep.
wasn't he?
Yeah,
That's why I didn't understand why the group is called it. I was like, I thought that was his prior name.
yeah.
Cultural differences. I'm not going to be racist. I don't know. I don't want to speak on it. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I was so confused about that.
This is Hispanic Appreciation Month. Hispanic Heritage Month.
It is. It is.
So yeah, there's about top 5.
Wow.
So
Damn,
now
how did I miss that?
And
But now
that's why I
I
said
gotta
I'm so disappointed in you.
I gotta take 2. I gotta take 2 off because the NXT. I need the NXT, the WWE United Kingdom Championship because of Pete
Walter.
Dunne and because of
Pete
Walter.
Dunne. Yes.
Pete Dunne was he put that on. I don't care if Mustache Mountain had it first. Tyler Bate won it first. Pete Dunne was one to put that championship on the map. And I was like, well, who's going to be Pete Dunne? Here comes this massive behemoth of the man in a trench coat named Walter.
Then
I was like, wait a second.
With that other music before he got the
Baby Shark music.
Right.
Yes.
And then I was like, bro, who the heck is he? Now, I remember seeing him, like when you watch the Rev Pro UK clips and stuff like that on YouTube.
Yeah.
I didn't. When he showed, I said, oh, they got him now? I said, he's in NXT? I said, oh, they're not playing any games. I knew he was a big deal over there. And then, so those 2 guys. But then, like I said, I got to think. That NXT Cruiserweight Championship was fun. I don't understand why they got rid of it.
I don't either, especially in this probably a different era because that's when Triple H, isn't that when he first disappeared? Because Carmelo Hayes
he was post-pandemic.
He first got sick, wasn't he?
Yeah, but he was still running the show though. Like it's not like somebody else took over for creative. Like,
but I think it was only him and Sean. That's when Sean had just started stepping in to help him, wasn't it?
Sean and Regal. Well, Regal it got cut.
Regal had left, right?
Yeah, Regal left.
Yeah, because he left right at the 2.0 because Carmelo and Roderick Strong had the match to unify it.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking that was during 2.0, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So Triple H wasn't in the
Diamond
picture.
Mine was still doing their thing.
Yeah, Triple H wasn't in the picture at all.
No,
Shawn Michaels had just got there, and he was just
Vince and Bruce Pritchard.
And because the women had to look a certain way, like Mandy Rose, remember?
As Shawn Michaels swears, let me tell you something. All the decisions had nothing to do with Vince. He was like, Shawn Michaels, stop lying. No, it's all me. Lies. You taking bullets for a man that put up with your crap for 20 years.
Yeah, you put up with it and make sure you had a job and a paycheck for 20 years. But those are my 5. And
they could have did something with that division, the cruiserweight division, for sure.
Listen to me. If you have NXT Level Up, you have WWE Speed, which means you have these type of superstars. You don't gotta. My thing is, you don't have to book them in stories. They're there to go out there and do what you need them to do.
Do what they do.
Around and put on good matches. That was the original archetype for the cruiserweight division, which got them popular in the first place. They just went out there and they just had matches. Like let them go out there and flip, and then whoever's the best one that flips and flops and lucha libre and Japanese strong style and high flying. Let them just do that. It don't always got to be. Well, now they need a story because now they need a reason. No, let it be strictly. That could be the one part of your show that's just strictly competition. Because the cruiserweights didn't have any feuds until Chris Jericho got in the mix or Dean Malenko, and then that was like a thing.
Yeah.
And then you had the belt with them, but in between those gaps, they were just hooving tooting La Parker and Rey Mysterio and Psychosis.
Going crazy, right?
Just go out there.
And win.
4
Ultimate
minutes.
Dragon. But you know,
they had a time limit and they went for it. And like if you have level up, and think about it, you could have had the NXT champion on level up and the speed champion on level up and still had them on what you call it and said, this is where they are aired exclusively, or have the men and women's champion on there and give them something to fight for.
Bingo. You could you could have defended the Cruiserweight Championship on NXT Speed. Hey, look, we're defending the Cruiserweight Championship. You got 6 minutes to make it happen. It don't got to be a speed champion because it's a speed show. No, that's the same reason why I like the WWE UK title versus the NXT title. You can defend the WWE UK title anywhere. It don't got to just be NXT because that's how it felt at the time. Like I was like, man, they're probably going on tour everywhere in the United Kingdom because that's WWE's United Kingdom champion, not another developmental territory. Like
that makes sense. That makes sense.
You said WWE NXT UK, but the WWE NXT UK championship was defended. It was WCW's United Kingdom champ. It's like the European championship. You don't defend it only in Europe. You can defend it anywhere. But when you go over there, that's the championship that headlines. So if I'm a WWE guy and I say, hey, look, we got a European territory we're going to, send Pete Dunne. We're running shows all in the United Kingdom. The WWE United Kingdom championship is being defended over there, not the NXT UK championship. Well, that's just,
And I hate that. And I mean, I don't like that we're going to do NXT UK, NXT Australia, NXT Japan. Come up with a different name so it feels like it's a different brand.
NXT Global Champion. I don't know.
I mean, just something else because, like, even if you got like Pro Wrestling Noah, you know what I mean? Yes, it has the nickname of Noah. International Wrestling Grand Prix. We know that as New Japan. It could be something else. Stardom. What's the other women's company that started up? Marigold, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Give them a different name and just say it's the WWE brand. Like NXT is a WWE brand in the United States. Raw and SmackDown is a brand in the United States. What's wrong with having a Australian brand WWE something? But that's
I feel like that's coming soon.
Yeah, trust me, the global takeover is well underway.
Yes, it is.
He might have said I couldn't get a certain people, but y'all
what
see who the new IWGP champion is.
No, I'm not going to talk about that. I'm not going to talk about that.
He stayed away from AEW. If he stayed away from AEW, it might be a home for him.
Yeah, we're not talking about that on the show.
Okay, we don't have to.
Sorry, brother. Hugh. All right.
Yeah. Okay.
Touchy subject.
Yeah. Too soon.
Just a little bit.
Yes, sir.
Okay. If you don't know what we're talking about, just go over to the interwebs and check it out. But realness, I think you made your point that NXT has done what? Do you know what they've done?
They've changed the game.
They are changing the game. And they had us talking about them for 2 hours and 23 minutes. It started with some belts.
I almost made it.
And how it is evolving. And the crazy part is it's evolving to the point that it is cool.
Mm-hmm.
NXT is actually cool. It was always that cool brand, but now it's cool on a different level. It's actually not only building stars, but it's a destination for people. We see people jump ship and don't have to jump to Raw, SmackDown. They're jumping to NXT. And sometimes it's for the better for them.
Yeah.
Let's call it what it is. Could Ethan Page had jumped to SmackDown and did what he did in NXT?
Nah.
On SmackDown and Raw.
Nah.
He went right in and inserted himself right at the top. Could Julia had jumped from her or Stephanie Vacour, number 2, or what number was she on 250 on PWIs? What number was she?
I'm not sure. I can't remember.
Definitely in the top 5 because she had jumped to Raw, SmackDown, and doing what she's doing.
She was like top. I think she's like 4 or 5.
But they're finding these places. They got to be in places that fit, so that way they get into the WWE system. Yeah. And what better way to get in the WWE system besides, like Ronan said, on the job training? And look what is breathing us. Shinsuke Nakamura could have came to Raw, SmackDown when he came back, but we appreciate the NXT work that he's done because that was some of his best work. And
Yes,
And then
they
the
adapt
fans
to that
of
style.
NXT would appreciate his work more. Like, yes, we did, but it's like they knew where that group was.
But they're definitely changing the game. I don't care what anybody say. NXT continues to evolve and they continue to change the game to get eyes on the product. And they definitely are getting eyes on those championships. I've come to terms with us not getting tag belts. Now watch next week they'll release tag belts and I'll be sitting here looking crazy.
I
But
mean, it's
I'm
a lot of
okay
tag
with it.
team signing. Just saying.
But I really think with the what you call it being petty with the Lucha Brothers not coming, that probably forced them to change the Motor City Machine Guns into that spot. But
Yeah,
that's just
probably.
my 2 cents. I'm
But
pretty
then,
sure
I
that's
don't
what.
know. Yeah. Well,
You think they were always slated for SmackDown?
see, I don't know because, like I said, there's still a deal that's up like in a month for Pentagon. So
Oh yeah.
that sucks, to be honest with you. So
Or y'all get quiet. I thought Realist was about to say something about that belt.
no,
Because he
I'm
keeps
not.
doing
Nope. Just
no?
just hanging out. That's all.
Okay. You really try to make it to
He's
250.
he's
Why do
pushing
you
it.
want to make it to 250?
Because you guys do these hour-long shows, and I want to talk belts. God dang it,
Well, let's talk some belts.
3
Since
hours
we're
long.
talking about NXT changing the game, right?
Mhm.
Let's talk about this because this is something that's been bothering me. And
What's
it's
that?
bothered me for a while with NXT. WWE created the Women's Tag Team Championship to be a championship to float between all three.
Here you go.
But then they created their own set of tag belts. And then they merged the tag belts. But it seems like there's an influx of women's tag teams or women's staples that might need or
No,
could
it's not.
benefit
We're
or
going
could
to debunk
benefit
this right
from.
now. We're
It's
going to
not,
debunk this right now.
well, hear me out.
Go ahead.
Because truthfully, and I've been a fan of, remember when the first brand split happened, right? And if you were the champion and you lost to somebody on SmackDown, you stayed on SmackDown. Then if you were the champion and you lost to somebody on Raw, you stayed on Raw, right?
Yeah.
Why can't we see that with our tag team champions? If we're not going to see that, just give us a separate set.
No, because it's better for the new women, new crop of superstars to get the main roster exposure
There it is.
rather than just chasing a championship. So like now the women's championship is a prize. The tag team titles are a prize. So like we just saw Last Legends and
Jakara Jackson.
Jakar Jackson. Yep.
Jakara Jackson. I almost called her Jakarta Parker. Jakara Jackson show up and they got really good exposure on the main roster chasing the tag titles, and they had to earn. They said we earned our way from NXT to get to SmackDown just for a title shot. And it makes sense is because now you're going to make an excuse for why NXT talent can go to the main roster for a class or two and then go back to their class. So like, you know how you have an advanced class where it's like, look, you're about to graduate and go to the 7th grade, but for math and history, you're going to go up and take 7th grade classes or go on Mondays and Tuesdays, and then you're going to go back to your regular class because you're on the verge of going to that class anyway. So it's like, it makes sense as to why the developmental talent shows up on the main roster. They can say, well, we won a shot on NXT, so now we earned that title. We earned our way to the main roster this week. So if they lose again, they got to go back down. If they got the title picture, they can go back down. So not only do you get exposed to the main roster, when the people go back, they follow you to NXT now. Well, that's them girls that fought Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. They just kicked the crap out of somebody down there. So now it's like it's a way for one to get on the job training, and you may not be completely ready yet. Let's see how well you do in these matchups. But now it's like it's a prize. You got to earn your way to that spot, and because there's so many tag teams, and majority of them are all new. Like, so it's like, hey, you got to earn your way to this spot, and you got to earn your way to the main roster. Hey, and guess what? If Jade and Bianca need to pop up on NXT every once in a while, just bring a little star power and show their faces, they can do that too.
Boost them ratings.
But to your argument, they did the same thing for a second tier title. They gave us a North American Women's Champion. Why don't we get that on the main roster and let that woman float between all three shows and do the same thing? Why give it to the developmental brand?
Do you see the difference in roster? Look at NXT women's division.
Mm-hmm.
You see all those heavy hitters down there? Let's name some of the people that's on the women's Raw roster.
Go ahead. I'm listening.
They're all in factions.
Yeah.
Oh, have they always been? Think about it.
No.
These factions, exactly.
No.
But that's my point. We start forming all these teams / factions, right?
Mm-hmm. That's because they need TV time. They're trying to find ways. They're trying to find ways to give them TV
Are you going
time
to cut? You going to cut Roman Reigns time? You going to cut Cody Rhodes time on SmackDown? You going to cut you going to cut Rhea Ripley's time on Raw?
Right,
now it's
right.
a 2-hour show. It's not even a 3-hour show anymore. Like I was watching Raw and I was like, dang, it's gone off already.
That's
I was like, first of all, I turned to the wrong channel and I was like, wait a minute, where's the show at? Then I was like, 10 o'clock. I'm like, I looked up. I said, dang, it's going off. Adam was like, it's over. I said, dang, I forgot. It's not 3 hours anymore.
It's 2 hours. Yep.
So you know, it's like, it's good that they have NXT. It's because they get time. Like I said, it's nothing like on the job training. But I think if you're producing a television show, I don't think we have time to stop what we already have in motion. Because you write TV almost 2 and 3 weeks in advance, right? To be like, oh wait, they're doing really good this week. Let's give them a shot. So we're gonna disrupt the entire television show because we're gonna give these guys a shot. Like, yeah, they're talented. Yeah, they'll have their time, but it's like, hey, there's a lot. There's less TV time. There's more TV space. Like, there's multiple shows. There's WWE Speed. There's NXT. You know what I mean? But I mean, you got
ladies going over TNA.
Yeah, they're even outsourcing their talent. Crap. What we got? Listen,
Japan. Yep.
Go. What's in Tennessee? You're gonna do a 2-week program over there, and vice versa, and then come and you got to do that for everybody that you feel like is up and coming. That's a lot to rotate.
Yeah,
that's a lot. Like you got to manage all of them, move them in and out, write storylines for them, make it make sense, and then you got to see if they can even deliver. If they're not ready yet, you got to bring them back down. You got to figure it out. So it's like adding another championship doesn't solve your problem, because remember they added the women's tag titles for a long time, and once 2 or 3 tag teams duke it out, then it was like, all right, it's like a 6-month gap before the next tag team shows up that goes, okay, this makes sense, that this actually might change title hands.
And that's another 2 titles that they're talking about. The rumors, you know what I'm saying? US and IC.
See my point? Because NXT gave us a secondary women's title. And I'm thinking because they didn't have, there's enough women to have a tag division. It's like on Raw, SmackDown, it floats. You can put people together that you didn't think, and it comes together and it works. But I feel like NXT said, no, we're going to go with this instead as a
trial run
to it. Yeah, a trial run to it to say, does this actually work? Is there a space for it? Because honestly, if you don't see either North American champion every week, you might see a promo one week, you might see them wrestling the next. But that doesn't mean that you have to see them every single week. Just like I think the last pay-per-view was the first time it was both championships were on the line for the men's and women North American title, correct?
Mm-hmm.
I think that was the first time.
He made a point. He made a point saying that he would much rather have a secondary women's title than tag titles, because it feels like they threw together a lot of tag teams really quick, and then you'll run through all those matches. And it's like when you got the championships on the Powerbuff girls, who really is going to step to them? So like now when the Kabuki Warriors show up, Io Sky and they're in for a fight. You know what I mean? So like that match is going to be like, okay, they might take them down as big as they are compared to them, but now you throw a set of new faces in the mix. So now you got some new girls jumping in, claiming their space, and then you still got people like Piper Niven and Chelsea Green that are always lurking in the shadows. That make it very clear, like, why do y'all keep getting opportunities? And then, like I said, the women can float from both shows. So so they don't have to defend their championships every week to make it seem like there's not title contenders. Like you did that with the Iconics. They never who was their best feud against? You don't remember, because they had nothing for them to do. But with Jade and Bianca, they have such a presence. They don't need to have matches every week. You just look at them and say, oh yeah, look at those muscles. Those girls are clearly champions. And then when somebody's ready to step up, or there's a reason for it, or it makes sense, or you know what I mean, then it's like, okay, cool, this makes sense now. So you can take your time. You don't have to rush. Like last time you have all the good matches and then you're done. Now you're waiting 3 months for somebody to rise to the occasion for it to make sense. So
You got to build up multiple people instead of just the one, or just
you know a
insert
squash
the
match
one.
when you see one.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
Alba Fire. What's the other girl's name? I can't keep up with them.
Aladon.
Aladon.
Alba. They in no way, shape, or form that I ever thought that was realistic. There's nothing about them that makes me go, oh, they're gonna beat them two behemoths. So when they beat him, I was like, bro, this is phony. I don't like those girls now. It makes no sense. I said, because now you're force feeding me these two witches. Like, don't give me the devil girls. Don't give me these devil girls. And then like you don't do no Papa Shango type stuff. And you expect now if they came out there and said we cast a spell on them, or it will be believable.
Right.
Like, okay, they did some real hoodoo type stuff that make them that threw them off, and then like sell me Papa Shango and Ultimate Warrior thrown up. Like go 80s on me, go early 90s.
Just go fall
But
on.
like
Right.
I saw them in the ring compared to them. I said, bro, you're not beating them.
Nah, that's
Now you put them two violent Japanese women. Oh nah, this might get a little ugly because they like Jay had to keep up with all three of them in the ring. Jay was like,
But you notice how they saying that the Kabuki Warriors stood a chance. They was like the speed versus the power, and they kept playing off. They kept playing off of that. And I was like,
and if you don't believe me, look what Io Sky did with freaking Bianca the 2 weeks before that.
Yeah,
at one of the matches of the year. I was like, what in the world? Everything was perfect about that match, and it makes sense. Like if you look at the size difference between Bianca and freaking Io Sky, the way Io Sky worked around Bianca and the way Bianca worked around, it showed, hey, look, we have differences, but hey, this is my advantage over yours. That is old school, classic, old fashioned storytelling. You want to know?
That's what Io does best.
Watch that match.
Think about it. That's what Io does best. Who could have took down? And I don't know, it wasn't like a takedown, but she won against Charlotte and Rhea Ripley.
And she does it her way, which is believable. Not like that's like imagine Aladon chokeslamming Jade. You're like, bro, that makes no sense. Like, you want me to believe that though?
But I can believe that she did a hurricanrana on her.
I can believe that she went in the back and did some little voodoo hoovoo devil stuff, and Jade slipped and can't figure out what happened to her because she had to figure it out. Because I'm like, okay, now it makes sense.
The devil girl backstage
they
and
beat
then
them that way.
Okay,
the little voodoo doll. Yeah.
So that's just what I'm saying. Like that's why I was like, bro, that joint to me it felt flat when they won because I was like, I feel like you guys are trying to force these people on us, and it's like it's not working. There's no way in the world they're huge, like Obafemi. The way Tony D'Angelo beat Obafemi, it had to be that way because nobody can go toe to toe with Obafemi, like unless it was like an Omos or a Big Show or a situation. And realistically, when you have two bigger guys, it would have to be like Braun Strowman and Bronson Reed every single time. Then it would have to be straight monster. TNA old school monsters balls.
Didn't do it. I said they're gonna have a hard time giving him a loss because at WrestleMania, remember,
too dominant.
When what's his name? Brooks Jensen and Dijak. When they left, and I was like, dang, it's going to be a while before somebody takes that belt off him because there's two big guys just like him that didn't do it.
Am I the only one that wants to see Ivar in singles action?
I don't because
they're trying to split them up. They just became the
Warriors. They're the Warriors now because you want the big meaty men slapping meat again,
bro,
don't you?
Ivar was going off, buddy.
No, you want that meaty match again.
I'm just saying. Did you see his matches? He was
he was showing off when he was by himself.
I think
that's why they took him off TV.
Yeah,
but no, remember he got hurt. He was supposed to fight Oba. Remember he got up in the face and then he got hurt and then they had to take him off. Now that was going to be the match that was going to show like holy.
That was going to see if Oba can keep up because he's no joke. They didn't change his name. He's not Hansen's back to being Hansen, but
right.
He slimmed down a little bit, which I'm happy he did.
Yeah, he looked like but you know what? Maybe it's all the war paint gone.
I'm glad the War Raiders back though. I'm glad to see him back. I want
to see got the old music.
Back, yeah, they're right. I want to see Omos. How you say it? Is Omos?
Yeah, Omos. Yeah,
because it's not spelled that way, but yeah,
it's not.
I'd love to see him. It's almost like
I guess so.
OMOS. Yeah.
Are you done cleaning your room? Almost.
You almost ready? Almost.
You ready yet? Almost.
Hey, bro. Yeah, I want to see what's going on with him, man. I want to see him back in the ring.
We were supposed to be talking about belts. Only thing he had was a tag belt.
Talking about belts. We were talking about the women's tag titles. It just happened to go to almost. Yeah, you almost done with this show? Almost.
I went to almost.
We need a big meaty men's belt.
No, listen, that's what that big Crown
The
Jewel
Crown
belt is
Jewel?
gonna be.
Right.
What kind of championship is that?
It's another belt for Cody Raheem to have.
Oh
You
my
think
gosh.
so? I don't think so. I think Gunther walks away with Cody
Nah.
Rhodes is
Yeah.
nope. I'm not talking. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna give it to you.
Oh, I was about to break it down for you, but go
I
ahead.
was about to go into it because I was
See, I
about
tried to
to
bait
say.
him. See, I tried to bait him in.
Here's
Save it for
the only thing I'll
flagship.
say about Cody Rhodes. Here's what I know he likes to do this. And this is like a homage to his father. Cody Rhodes wants to make sure. Cody Rhodes watches a lot of wrestling. And he always wants to make sure that he never looks too dominant that he cannot tell a realistic story. Because you book yourself, it's called booking yourself into a corner. You look so dominant, you're always winning. But it's like, well, how are you always winning? Roman should have lost his last 30 matches he had, but somehow he just won. Ain't like he beat anybody. He just happened to win. So it's like Cody's always, he's got to build this character. Like, I got to go through something. Well, how does a champion go through something? So, you know what I mean?
What does he have to go through? What does he have to go through? Say it, Brandon. Say it, Brandon. Come on, Brandon. You gonna let me down?
Go ahead, you say it.
Hard times. That's what he got to go through. Hard times.
I love you. Hate your son, though.
I was waiting for you to say it. I was waiting for you to say it. Oh,
I'm trying to figure out why everybody is like, this is the ultimate disrespect. How do you love somebody and then blatantly hate their son? Kevin Owens had a whole American Dream Dusty Rhodes shirt on. Why he Kevin Owens is out there, and I'm gonna talk about this tomorrow on the show because I'm almost 250. And he was like, Kevin Owens gets on the microphone. And he goes, oh yeah, Cody Rhodes, and then he sees Kevin. He goes, oh, I see. You want to come down and fight me? He stopped talking mid-talk on the microphone. He goes, Cody Rhodes turned on me. It's not. And he goes, oh, so you want to come down and fight? And then drops the mic and then leaves.
Right.
I'm like, does he have an American Dream Dusty Rhodes t-shirt on?
You talk about these stories.
Big trolling.
And the fact that he attacked Randy.
I saw that. When did that happen? I missed it.
After he said, look at you being a voice of reason. Because why has Randy always got his ring gear on?
Because Randy Orton knows what time it is. Randy Orton back there. Now, see, what Randy Orton used to do was he used to wear like his basketball shorts over underneath his trunks. That's how he used to walk around backstage. His little long sleeve little hoodie thing he throw over.
Yeah.
And I think Randy Orton was set to have a match that night or do something. Because
match.
Yeah, he's supposed to be in something. And then of course Corey Graves is the man though, because Corey Graves sold it. Corey Graves is like when Kevin Owens hit him, which he did on purpose, and then Corey Graves goes, I don't know if Kevin Owens realized who he hit. And then Randy Orton dropped him. I mean, and then he looked at Randy Orton like, how could you hit me? Randy was like, bro, you know you hit me first. But then Kevin Owens plays the victim, of course. And then at the end of the show,
he was
like
Dad just hit me.
Like yo, you really hit me? We on the same team.
He was hurt.
He's like, bro, you doing too much. He's like, nah. Then the show goes off. You want to choose sides?
Yeah. So you chose the wrong side.
Oh my gosh.
First of all, I can't wait to talk about Kevin Owens because we knew this was coming. He can't stay a good guy for too long.
But no, everybody turned to him. That's what he's saying.
And that's how he is spinning it. And I'm like, yes. You saw him subtly going crazy over like a 3-week period. You like, yo, something's not right, man. He's fighting it, but he's just like naturally evil. Like he fought it for so long. He's like, bro, I cannot fight being a bad guy much longer. That's why Sami Zayn was like, hey, listen, man, you know I know. So if you want to talk,
exactly.
I was like, no, Sami, that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to talk to Gunther and figure this out. He's like, look, about the other day, come on. You know I know it's going. You know I've been here. Like, that's his best friend.
I've been on the receiving of a buckle bomb.
Right.
My best friend is going to turn on me every
bomb on the end.
On the apron.
I feel like Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens like on-TV relationship is like Macho Man and Hogan. Either they're best friends or they beefing. It's no in between.
There's no in between. It's either one or the other.
Hogan said,
no, and what's worse is when
he hated me for whatever reason. I can never tell what week was.
What's worse when he opened the door, when Jay opened the door and Drew was sitting there like, and he was like, nope. And he just he's like, nope. He's just like,
that's the look your brother give you when he told on you and you got in trouble and you got punished and you couldn't go to summer camp or something, and then you walk in the room, your brother like, yo, can we talk, bro? Don't say nothing to me. You the reason I couldn't go to camp. I couldn't go to space camp. You got me punished all summer because you snitched on me. Don't say nothing. Get out my face. You told Mama I didn't do the laundry to get yourself out of trouble. Can we talk? No.
Look, man, I can give you my desserts, for the rest of the summer, bro.
Come on, man.
You can have all the cookies and cake. You have all.
I was ready to get a whooping. You sold me out. You had to tell I did it. That's how he looked, bro. Can we talk? Man, no. Man, get out my face. Niggas are their brothers. How many times did he tell them get out of space in their 34-year period? Right. How old they are.
But Hugh said after SmackDown went off, the first dark match was Jey Uso.
Yeah, did you see that?
I didn't even catch it.
Literally right
so
after
the crowd. I'm surprised the crowd didn't record it, like Roman and him leaving and then here. Uso.
That was the very next match, bro. I said, what? He's out there eating. 2 minutes after his boys got their butts whooped.
Got beaten. He's like, yep, y'all good.
Get on my face.
I got a take on that too. I feel like I'll do that on the flagship.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah, it's the reason that Braun Breaker has his rematch.
You said that though, brother Brandon. Was that you or you, brother Hugh?
And I was Brandon,
because you kept saying like, because I'm like, they're not gonna get Jey Uso involved. He's too high. Why would he be involved in the Bloodline still? And then best believe, I was like, God dang it,
that's Braun. That's Braun's gimmick.
Yeah,
he leaves the first time and he learned on the second.
He said it though. He said you've been mooching off your family's lineage for 10 years. I was like, 14 years you've been here. I never needed none of that stuff. I was like,
I did what do you say? My first year and you did it 14. I was like,
Yep. Why is he so good at cutting promos though? Like
he's a football player.
You see what Taker said? Taker said the same thing. Taker was like, he's already a better promo than his father and his uncle.
Right.
It's a big deal.
God.
Well, anybody's a better promo than his father.
Yeah.
Because the big bad booty daddy is gonna punch you in the throat and I'm gonna kill you. And you're like, wait a minute, what? What did he just say?
Well, Scott Steiner was.
Did he just say he's gonna commit murder? I can never follow any of his promos.
But Rick Steiner, his only promo was
that was it. That was it.
I
like the old school Scott Steiner with the mullet.
No. That was I did too though. But that's Brian Nation's favorite tag team of all time. But I'm like, for a hardcore WWF guy, like they were primarily WCW guys. I feel
like they had more time in WCW.
They did.
Like, look, did you see what Justin said? Oh, it's not going to be a swerve. It's going to be a punch in the throat. And you were like, I didn't see this coming.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the fun of it.
That's Triple H. So,
you guys gonna be mad if he has to drop that title because what if Jimmy causes him to lose by mistake because he's because he comes out to the ring to try, like, bro, can we just talk in the middle of the match? Like, man, I'm in the match, bro. And then he loses to Braun Breaker.
Well, he puts his foot on the rope to try to help him. And then Braun spears him and he still loses. Get out of here. I got this. I'm trying to handle my business. And then he gets speared.
The prototype says he doesn't think that KO is 100% the real heel in the situation.
I don't think so either. I think it's going to be something else.
Bro.
So I'm going to say this.
You can't trust Randy either, bro.
Realness, did you see Deadpool?
No, I did not. I was not happy that I missed that. I need to go see it. It's still in the movie theater around the corner from my house, but we'll see.
I can't give you the reference.
I
think it's going to be something. Yeah, it's going to be something because that. Hugh, I know you didn't see it. Don't look at my mother, actually. I know. So I'm trying to think of something equated to.
Don't think too hard. We're almost at 248. Come on, 250.
No, because it's not going to be a combo
show in championship culture history. I can't wait.
Because if we go to 250, you might as well go to the 3.
You might as well go to full 3.
You might as well go to full 3.
Now the way you over there.
It's something he want to do at 250. I am. Watch. It's something he wanted to do at 250. It's something. I'm just waiting to see what he's going to do.
It's really
because his figures. I just want you guys to have
a nice long show because you guys get it. Hour 15, you out of there. I said, are you kidding me? When I want to show it? No, you're not.
You should see our rundowns. It'll be like 15 minutes, 20-minute segments.
No,
that's exactly
then he'd be laughing at my transitions because I'll be transitioning and be like, all right, so when you talk about this, you got to add this to the conversation. Why do I feel like this is just a tip?
And then here comes me. Right. Not so fast. I got some thoughts about what you said.
I want to answer your question, but let me do this for you, brother. Let me bust out this belt bag because I'm gonna show you this belt bag that has nothing to do with what you was talking about. But let me show you. So me and the realness, being 6'12", we have this belt bag, and as you can see, it says NXT. And the crazy part is, it's in the black and white. And brothers, do you know why it was in the black and white? Because Shawn Michaels is in the NWO. And when he was in the NWO, I got notes for that. You know, he
That's
he gonna
exactly.
take you on a journey. He gonna take you on a journey.
I was good to what you were saying. I was like, I ought to see where this goes next. I was just waiting. I was going along for the ride.
Did he pop it up? I'm telling you, if we had a takeover, another championship culture takeover, you will will be surprised.
250. We did it, gentlemen.
You will be surprised.
It's supposed to be an hour-long show. Is officially gone to 11 o'clock. We might as well just stay here until the next show. Let's just start. Let's call Brian H. and like, bro, we're gonna go from here all the way to tomorrow.
Go ahead, start it. What you gonna do? What you gonna do?
Right. Like, what are you doing? We're not going live. We're gonna record it now. We already started. We're already 3 hours in. We're gonna go for another 2.5 hours.
We're gonna just go ahead and say it. We're gonna talk about more belts. Everybody grab a belt. What's your favorite belt in your possession? Grab your trios belt. Where's your trios belt here?
Brandon has enough belts back there to talk about anyway. So
oh my goodness, he has a whole room. Like he gave everybody a peek. I don't want to say anything. It's like I don't know if he knows what he's doing.
Right.
Yeah, show the other side. I got to get another row, and then I'll start on the other side. I'm going to get another side. I'm going to put another row there because I need to put other titles.
Reach the other side.
Well,
it's late.
I've done my job. Brother Hugh is tripping.
Yes.
Brother Brandon is yawning. And
you got the coin drop. Did you hear the coin drop earlier?
I did. I was like this, but I hit mute, and I was like, wait. And I was like, does anybody see any money falling behind me? And I was like, this the whole time. And then my mic was on mute, and I was like, I don't think they can hear me.
Because you haven't lost your aura, but the Rainmaker.
I don't want to get into that. I'm going to save that for something else.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple.
Where's your trios belt? Hugh, I don't see your trios belt.
It was on the bed, you know.
Oh, okay.
It's here now.
Jay White. Okay. Jay White is facing off. Look at that thing. Jay White facing off with Christian tomorrow on.
Oh, he is.
Dynamite. Yep.
Christian didn't cash in his thing yet, right?
Nah,
I don't know. I can't keep up with that stuff.
So I guess not Jack Pryor. Darby Allin will win and Christian will cash in on him.
I'm about to say when is a good time for him to do it?
I don't know.
He's gonna wait
I think Daniel Bryan retired. I'm not sure. I can't keep up. Shelton Benjamin shows up tomorrow. He better not wrestle in a suit. That's all I'm saying.
I mean,
so we'll see.
They killed Daniel Bryan.
They definitely killed him. I think he's done. I can't. I'm like, is he? Did he say he was done?
Swerve got brain
4
damage
times
because Swerve clearly has brain damage because he's cutting a promo in the ring and he's in the building with Adam Page and they're not killing each other. So I'm so confused about that because this man burnt your house and injected you with some kind of substance, and he's in the same vicinity with you. You worried about?
I told you. He was
who's your manager?
He was out for he was out for 2 weeks, right?
How long is it between their pay-per-views?
I don't know.
Because some of their pay-per-views are still going on. The last pay-per-view is still happening. They don't match 746 right now.
Because I'm telling you, that it was COVID in that needle. It was COVID.
Okay.
He was out for 2 weeks. At least. 19. It might have been 21.
COVID 21.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm trying to keep a straight face.
The fact that he didn't kill this man and they are in the same building is hilarious to me.
Right.
But Jay White is back.
He is.
Yeah.
And I hope they do something with him.
I don't want to talk about it.
The Kester got the international championship now, though.
Yeah,
that's good.
They did something right.
Kyle Fletcher turned
Ricochet. Did you see Ricochet's ring gear? Really?
I did. I was happy. I said, thank you. Anything better than those bell bottoms? I told you, I don't do bell bottoms. Like, tuck your pants inside your boots like a real wrestler, or wear the trunks. So, whatever.
You didn't like the Shawn Michaels pants back in the day?
Oh my God,
they were skinny. Shawn.
I was not happy. I got adjusted to it, but I was not happy.
But his wasn't like that. It was like actual pants.
Right. It was
Ricochet's was ring pants with a flare.
With the flare on the bottom, yeah.
But he also had 2 big knee braces underneath his. He had the Rey Mysterios on, and because Rey Mysterio wears those same thing, them same fat knee braces.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, and I got used to it eventually, but not me started wearing dumb colors like browns. Like, bro, if it's not DX colors or reds or blacks, Cut it out. In any match, with the exception of the WrestleMania matches, I don't watch Shawn Michaels wear anything outside of anything brown pants related. No,
Didn't he say that was a mess up because his ring gear wasn't finished or
It wasn't
something?
I'm not trying to hit none of that. He had old ring gear. He could have on. I'm not trying to hit it. You wrestled for 14, 15 years, however long it was. You could have got something. That was not. There's no excuse for that.
But why brown? I don't know. Okay, anyway.
Same reason Seth wore all white. They get, they try something different.
Yeah.
Like changing their music at WrestleMania.
Don't you wear that? Oh my gosh.
That was a trigger. You see how he shifted up?
Just changed his whole thought process.
Hey, wait a minute. Like I said something to him.
Oh my gosh.
That's what we should do. What does the belt sound like? What do you hear when you see this belt? Yeah, bro, this definitely be a good one. Like, doesn't this belt go? There
you go.
But then
I can tell you what that Ring of Honor tag title says behind you when I see it. I hear garbage truck. Anybody hear? There it is, brother Brandon Johnson. There it is.
Did you say a garbage truck?
Yeah. You didn't hear that? It's not Diesel's music either. It's not Diesel. It's a garbage truck. That's all I got.
I can't stand you.
Got 5 more minutes.
Why is it like this? Realness. This is what we can do in 5 minutes. Tell the people where they can find you and TRDA brands.
Oh, even better. Okay. You can find me. You can first find me on X at Dwayne Allen 24. That is where you can find me in my tweets. They're not probably plentiful, but I'm advertising anyway. You can also find me at the Wrestling Realm at Wrestling Realms 2 W's on X, Instagram, and Threads, Facebook as well. YouTube.com/The Wrestling Realm. Let me see what else. TRDA brand on Instagram. TRDA BRAND. TRDA brand. It's not Trada. It's not a word. It's just an acronym. TRDA.
Trada.
So yeah, that's where you can find me. Anywhere else? Oh, you can find me on you can follow TRDA brand on TikTok. There's a couple of things on there, not a lot, but soon to come. Realness Reaction should be popping up soon.
Ooh.
Still trying to figure it out, but I think I got something that works, so that'll be coming soon. And there's a couple new things coming down the pipeline as far as content creation for the Wrestling Realm that I'm excited about. So we shall. So stay tuned. So, but like I said, if I'm going to be trying to beef up some content for Instagram, so that should be fun. I have a brand new show for Instagram. Now, it's not necessarily a show. It's more like a concept that has a branding name to it.
Okay.
So, yeah, that should be coming soon. What it should do is it should allow me to go live on Instagram and kind of talk about a number of different topics. Kind of short, sweet, to the point, kind of like your WWE speed every Tuesday at 12 p.m. on Twitter, whatever, however they do it. So yeah, so it'll be,
interesting.
Social media is where I'm trying to improve and boost my presence, just so people can get a good double dose of the realness. And because I have a lot of wrestling in my brain, and I need new ways to express it. So I'm trying to take advantage of every medium, and 2025 is probably going to be one of those years. So we're wrapping up 2024, going to 2025, and hopefully you'll see a lot more realness content and a couple other things that I'm keeping under wraps for now. But yeah, it's all coming soon. But definitely pay attention to the Wrestling Realm Instagram page really, really, really soon. So yeah, I'll be trying to.
2025, we moving to Netflix.
I don't see why we shouldn't.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
So, because then we can go as long as we want, and then there's no restrictions, and we can say whatever we want. So like the Rock. The Rock comes back and says whatever
boss.
He just says whatever.
You got to say the final boss.
The final boss.
Smacked his arm a couple times
because he got the goosebumps.
Slaps his heart. He's about to break kayfabe every 5 minutes, every time. Soon as he hears that energy, he's like, "Whew! All right, stay in character, Dwayne. I got to do this. All right, now I'm a bad guy. Get out from amongst the crowd and be in the back and let loose."
He sounds crazy.
That's the
Say
third
something
one.
about somebody.
That's it.
Say
That's like an
something.
alarm.
Yeah, right.
Hugh, you want to tell them where they can find you before I say what I say?
I'm at HASTHE, the 3RD on all social media platforms. Nice and easy for you. Bow. Check me out. I will be dropping some more photos soon. I got some things that I'm covering. Women's football
Ooh.
coming up. Got some
Yeah, boy.
things, brewing. So
Nighthawks.
yeah. Yep. So yeah, check us out.
And don't forget to follow us on all social media platforms, which include Instagram, X. Oh, that yeah, he was like, "Oops," but it's just funny. You
On the
follow us on
outside.
Instagram at Championship Culture _ and on X on the flagship show, The Wrestling Realm. Make sure you comment your thoughts and hit that subscribe button. Because don't forget to turn on the notifications so you never miss a chance when we go live. Tune in every Tuesday at 8 p.m. to a new episode of Championship Culture. And don't forget, thanks for watching because everybody has a story and we can't wait to hear yours.
3-hour show for season 3.
Peace.